Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence. You do so many of these, you start to forget. It's much easier when Baldy just introduces you. Anyway, thank you guys all for joining. And today I brought on someone who I've had uh, very little back and forth with. He's another guy that's not on social media other than YouTube, and I saw him on Same Time Toys, with Shane. And yeah, you guys, I want you guys to understand. I like to see the people that I'm bringing on, just because you want to make sure you can have a good conversation with them. You never know if you've never seen someone before. Some people are not good on camera, but I thought this guy was really good, and I want to see what his story is. And he's always in the chat, which I can't express how much I appreciate. So, without further ado, my special guest, Evil Dookie. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Hi. Like I said, I saw you on. I saw you with Shane on Same Time Toys. I listened to you. I'm like, this guy can talk. He has a way with words, which is awesome. And again, I'd like to bring on people that have supported me. You're always in my chat, so thank you for that. But let's find out a little bit about you.
What do you want to know? Open book.
Well, can I call you by your real name, or do you want to be just Evil Dookie?
All right. You want the North Carolina real name? Or you want the New England real name? Because my mom called me one thing, my wife calls me another.
I just know what I was told, and that's what I put in my phone.
Yeah, it's William. William's my actual first name. My mom called me Billy. There's a story behind all that too. If you want to know that, I got nothing but time.
Well, I'm assuming you rather be called William because you said my mom calls me Billy.
No, I'm actually pissed. Found out like 3 years ago. Liam's short for William. Like, why the hell didn't you call me Liam growing up as a kid?
Because were there any cool Liams back then?
No, that's just it. I would have been the only one.
Well, it wasn't cool back then, is what my guess is.
Yeah, I guess so.
So let's just ask, Evo Dookie, where does that name come from?
Dookie came first. So I came in the Army in 1997, and by the time I got done basic training and AIT, both at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, I got stationed at Fort Bragg. And I think I was here probably, I don't know, 4 to 5 months. I came in as a mechanic. So everybody's got a routine in the morning, right? Or throughout the day, everybody creatures of habit. We kind of go through the same thing over and over, daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I used to get lunch break like 12 to 12:30. That's all I got. I was the only mechanic, had a couple hundred pieces of equipment to start off with. We were short staffed. I mean, it was late 90s. Nobody was joining the military. And every day after lunch, my clerk would come up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, you need parts because I got to run to the warehouse and do a parts run. Is there anything that came up recently that you need right off the bat?" Well, every day he'd come looking for me. I wasn't in the bay. I wasn't in the office. I wasn't out in the line. I was in the other office. So my last name with Duquette, I don't care. It's out there. It doesn't bother me. He started calling me Duke. And I was like, dude, you can't call me Duke. That was my uncle's nickname growing up. Everybody back then had nicknames, all my family at least. He's like, I'm going to call you Dookie since you're always in the shitter. I was like, all right, that works. So I've had Dookie since 1997. And I even tried to get it when I retired from the Army. I started working for John Deere. And I was like, hey, can we put our nicknames on it? And they're like, yeah, well, it depends what your nickname is for your shirt. I'm like, all right, well, here's my nickname. And she's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. We can't use that. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a motorcycle club. And the name of that club, Evil, was in it. So everybody started calling me Evil Dookie at the same time. So it kind of just, when I got on YouTube, I couldn't find Dookie a long time ago. I could not get Dookie for her name, so I was like, well, let me switch it over to Evil Dookie.
I mean, it works. I mean, it's a name that people remember. It's a name that is easy to pronounce, easy to spell. There's some people, 3-star draw or down south 77. Oh, did I say that out loud? Who have very weird, and it's hard to find even to this day. So
3-star too. It's funny. You've got that. It depends where you're from. Is it 3-star draw or 3-star drawl? So the accent can play an effect on his too.
Yes, and I've had this discussion with him, but hey, he likes it, And I said, you
Keep
got to pick one or the other, man. But quickly, let's ahead of the chat. We have Krusty Old Crow jumping here, Mendoza, U.S. Combat Dojo, GI Bro. We have Machine Man. We have Matthew Matson jumping in with a quick. I lost it. Cobra 88.7 SCS Dog. We have 3-star Drawl with the capital. You went and just changed that, didn't you? My Gold Nolan, which makes us ToyTube official. We have Sinister 6 of the 616, which I think that name is awesome, and it is a tongue twister. Hustle SM, we have Backwards 78, War Chest full of toys. We have Steve Martin, who has joined us, and then we have Toy Optics, one of my co-hosts on what's the other show I do? Everyone gets a cookie. That's all I know. B is Battleground, another military, another army guy. Beardy Make a Bearderson. Ultra Metch is here. And then we have Soul Brother #1. And that's it. So Darren says the 3-star Drawl. The accent was the whole point. Yes, we know, but it more than anything, Darren, and I know we discussed this, it was the down south 77, and you spelled out 7, and then 1 was an actual. It's hard for people to find you. And Bobby Wold is jumping here saying, have you started on the Dreadnought scene yet?
No, piecemealing it. So my dioramas, how do I even start this backstory? Red Wagon Diorama, I think, the guy that collects Star Wars on YouTube.
Okay.
He's got it. He kind of does what I went for, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. So for me to start collecting G.I. Joes, I guess my cousin passed away in 2022. We were best friends growing up as kids. He still lived back home. Of course, me being in the military, I was pushed all around. Retired in North Carolina, but I had this fear that after he passed, because it was not gonna. I mean, it's not like I would forget his memory, but I didn't want to forget his memory, you know.
Yeah.
And the older you get, you start slipping. I mean, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, so it's always playing in the back of your mind. What are you going to get when you get older? How are you going to be? So I didn't want to lose his memory. And I just happened to see a G.I. Joe in the store one day. I've seen him a few times. I'm like, oh, they came out with G.I. Joes again. That's kind of cool. Oh, they came out with G.I. Joes again. That's kind of cool. I was like, all right, I'm buying this one this time. So each one I get is kind of like a memory, because between the two of us, we had a pretty large collection. So,
okay.
But the, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The Dreadnought thing, I got plans for it. It's going to be big. So it's going to take a while to get it done.
Speaking of Dreadnought.
Oh, son of a bitch. I didn't get mine yet.
Sergeant Red's got them. So if you have a local toy store, you might want to look, because they're going to start getting them.
Well, I actually just went to mine today. When I told you earlier, I skipped work. I only got one guy probably listening from work, so I don't care. I went to mine today, and he actually had 3 Trench Vipers sitting there.
Oh, well, he ordered those.
He
ordered those off Paul. No, this is they got them. So I was I ordered it from and I know he's here. Steve Martin sent me a link, and I actually ordered it, and it's from a second party. I tried canceling. I don't know if I'm going to, but I saw it. I was on the phone with Tony's Figs, and I'm like, shit, I got to run out to Sergeant Reds and get this just so I can have it. So I did it. I'd rather support them if possible. So if I get, I'll return it to Walmart or whatever. But anyway, so let me ask, how old are you?
46.
46.
Yeah, 46.
So just a little bit younger than I am. You're right in that wheelhouse of everything every good toy. I'm just going to say it. 80s awesome toys.
They're junk now.
The 80s toys, yeah, they're pretty beat up now.
No, I'm saying the ones that come out now, they're junk.
You mean like for kids?
Yes, I got a 7-year-old, so
okay.
I see what the stuff's coming out, and I'm like, man, I would not want him to play with this when I was a kid.
So he says, dang, I was hoping Monkey Wrench would be good. I think Darren is actually saying he's good. I don't think he's saying that he's the shit. I don't think he's saying he's shit. He's saying he's the shit. Anyway, I think they're trying to put too much articulation and too much detail into kids' toys. And kids have a hard enough time standing like an O-ring, let alone a modern 4-inch figure.
Yeah.
That's why I said I did a video years ago now talking about how I thought that the Masters of the Universe Origins was like the perfect toy for a kid and their dad. Because first off, the dad's gonna have some nostalgia for it. It's a barbarian and a skeleton, right? And they stand really easily. And you can knock them around. You don't have to worry about them breaking or anything. And I still stand by that. Like you look at those weapons and everything, it's the perfect blend for a kid and their dad that grew up in that.
I remember when I started getting the GI Joes, and my son's like, "Oh, Daddy, can I have one of these?" You know, because I was getting troop builders too. I mean, I'm not anything like Woody on the troop building
No
scheme,
one
but
is.
yeah, but I've got some, you know, and I gave him a couple here and there. And I remember we were downstairs, my wife and I, in the living room, and when he walks across upstairs, I don't know what it is about this kid. I mean, he's scrawny like me when I was a kid growing up, but he sounds like a friggin' elephant going across the damn. I was like, dude, Cullen, slow down, man. So he's upstairs, and all of a sudden we hear him like banging loud and getting mad. And I'm like, man, he's stomping his feet. I go up there, I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, man, he's like, Daddy, these figures, I can't get him to stand up. I was like, what is wrong with it? And it was one of the wrestlers, and it was Kevin Owens. I was like, well, how come you can't get him to stand up? He goes, I don't know. He's just got a big fat belly. He doesn't want to stay up straight. I mean, the kid's brutally honest, which I love
I
it, you
love
know.
it.
But action figures, he's posing the GI Joes now. He'll look at mine, how I do some of mine. He'll try to repeat the pose and stuff. But he wants to do it on his own. He doesn't want any help.
No, that's awesome. I mean, the independent's great because they need that as they get older for sure.
Yep.
All right. So born in when
79.
46 or 79. Okay. So do you remember like the first toys, like playing with the first toys, not the first toys you fell in love with, but like the first toys? Now you're coming in around that age, you might remember Star Wars and stuff, but do you remember like the first toys you had that you played with?
The one I was actually asking my mom about this a couple weeks ago, just out of curiosity, which Joe's it was, but I specifically remember Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels and
Yeah.
Legos were like my two things as a little kid before I got into GI Joe.
Now, did you have Legos or lock blocks? I feel like I'm
I
the
had
only
Legos.
person that knows lock blocks.
No, Legos.
Lock
I remember
blocks were
lock
like
blocks, but they were like, nah, cheap ones. I
they
don't
were.
want
Oh,
those.
dude, it was what my grandmother would get. So my grandfather was paraplegic. He was paralyzed, I think, like 6 months after I was born. And when he was bedridden, he was in the back of this long condo. So my grandmother, when we would go over there, she'd always buy some toys and put it in the cabinet, so we'd have to go back there and say hi to him and everything, because as
Yeah.
a kid, he was loud and you're just kind of scared of him. So there was always lockbox. I think because you could get those at like what was Perry Drugs at the time or Arbor, and I never had Legos, but they just sucked. They were big giant blocks. You could only do so much with them, but it was something fun. It was going to stay at my grandmother's house, and after a while, you've accumulated so much you could do all kinds of stuff. um, so you remember the Hot Wheels and the Legos. Do you remember the first toys you fell in love with?
GI Joe. Absolutely GI Joe.
So
My,
what was it?
I had to ask my mom. I remember it was GI Joe, but I couldn't
Okay.
remember what specific two figures. And I asked her, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. I said, "Hey, what was the first GI Joes I got as a kid?" And she goes, "I remember it specifically because I was in the newspaper, the local newspaper for McDonald's. You remember the Hamburglar?
Yes.
You'd climb up the center of the thing and it had like a jail on around it, and you play
So
around that."
Sergeant Reds had one in front of their house, or in front of in front of their store. I got like pictures in front of it. I think they sent it out to get painted because it's gone, but they still have the grimace jail cell on the side.
Yep.
So I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the local paper, I guess, had just, I don't.
It was Mayor McCheese.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah, but I know
But I
what you're
remember,
talking about.
so I was in the local paper for that, I guess, and they had just taken the photo that day, and my grandmother had taken me up to see my mom because she worked at Kmart in a sporting goods store, in the sporting goods department. And I guess when I went to go see her, my grandmother used to let me get a toy or whatever. Since they were both there, I got two, and I ended up pulling off Snake Eyes and Cobra Trooper.
So now would this have been the straight arm figure, or would this have been um the swivel arm battle grip?
It would have been the
'Cause
first year they came out.
okay, so you must have been really young.
Yeah,
You must have been
probably 2 or
really
3.
little when you got them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was wondering. Because I was, I think six when GI Joe first came out. I was born right at the end of '75. Um, so about 6, and I can remember where I was and everything that I got. So yeah, you would have been much smaller, but that's awesome. It's awesome that your mom remembers. That's even better.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like every major event that's ever happened in my life is always I've always had like a GI Joe nearby. It seems like it's kind of strange.
Okay. So now you get into GI Joe, or you fall in love with GI Joe. Is there anything? Are there other toys that you play with?
Oh yeah. I mean, in the '80s, who didn't play with everything they had? If you didn't have it, your friend had it somewhere.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
was
But did you? But did
Transformers. I
you?
hated.
You hated.
I hated. I hated. I can't do a Rubik's cube. Like if I do a Rubik's cube, I got to peel the stickers off and put it back on. And my son
I
got a
know.
transformer a couple weeks ago, and I'm like,
Oh
he's like, Daddy, can you fix this? I'm like, no. I'm like, I got on YouTube and looked. I'm like, I can't do this.
no. Okay. So I when my son, because Transformers got, the movie had come out, and he had Bumblebee, and then he also had Ironhide, the movie one. And I remember being super frustrated, and I told him, I go, I will transform it once a week. So you want to turn it into a car, I'll turn it into a car. You want to turn but I'm not doing it over and over. This is not like when we were kids. Optimus Prime, he transformed super easy. These were so frustrating, and you can imagine a little kid with anger issues getting frustrated.
Oh yeah, I was at my toy store today, and the guy was there after I got my stuff, and I know him pretty well. He actually grew up in the same area I did, so we get along real well. And I was like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "I got putting all these Transformers out," and he had a tub, like a 4-foot tub, and he said he had just bought the collection, and everything that he had was not in robot mode. So he literally had to change every single one back to robot mode to fit them on the shelf for the sales. He's like, dude, I've been doing Transformers for like almost 2 weeks straight. He's like, it's driving me nuts. I was like, better
I
you than me.
Yeah, yeah. So where did you grow up? I didn't even. We totally skipped. Where did you grow up, and did you have what was your family dynamic life? Like, did you have brothers and siblings? Were your parents together?
No and no. So I grew
Okay.
up in. I'd like to see. I would. Yeah. How do I? I can't. I don't. We have to show it somehow. North Grovendale, Connecticut. It's one
Okay.
of those tongue twisters. I just wanted to know if anybody could say it, but it's on the Woody will know where it's at. It's on the Mass, Rhode Island and Connecticut border. And I was on the Connecticut side. My cousin lived in the Mass side. So it was just me, my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather. That was it.
Okay.
My dad, I never knew him. And well, I met him a couple times, but never knew him growing up.
All right.
Mom worked all the time. I was with my grandmother. And if I wasn't with my grandma, I was with my grandfather.
But it sounds like you had some cousins that you were kind of close to, or at least one.
Yeah, yeah. My cousin, my
Okay.
cousin Rory, I was real close to him, and then he had a sister. She was a couple years younger, so of course he was 2 years younger than me, and she was, I think, 2 years younger than him. So 4 year gap plus boys, girls.
Yeah,
But the
that's
three of us were together every holiday weekend.
but 4 years is a huge gap, especially then. And there's two ways to look at it. When you have a female that's a girl that's 4 years younger, that's one thing. I mean, the gap's huge, or they're either annoying, or it's like that's my little cousin. You don't mess with her. You know what I
It's
mean?
funny
Or
because
you let her tag along, and she wants to be
yep,
like you guys. I grew up with 50 cousins. I think there were 50 cousins altogether at the end. But you would hang out with the ones that are your age. And at that age, with that many, there's always some that are in your age bracket. Um, so were you spoiled as a kid? Like you said, you kind of remember having a lot of
no,
stuff. Okay.
no. In a sense, I was. So my grandparents, they had their youngest son passed away when I was 3 years old. That's why I said every major moment happened, you
Okay.
know, in my life. I remember distinctly having a GI Joe in my hand when my mom came to the my babysitter's house and told me my uncle had passed away of leukemia. So it was just the three of us, and the house I grew up in was 750 square foot.
Okay.
My grandfather, he grew up and worked his ass off for everything he had. When he retired, I think at the age of 65, somewhere around there, I think he was retired for like 6 months. I don't remember how old I was. He was born in 1921. But when he retired, he took a little bit of time off, and then he went to work for a machinist company that my uncle started at when he was 18, and my uncle is still at to this day, and he's in his mid to late 60s. So my grandfather, when he started there, he started working, and this is probably late 80s. He started getting a paycheck under my grandmother's name for Social Security check, so it could build her Social Security up. I mean, that's how I was raised, hard work ethic and everything like
Yeah.
that. But my mom worked at Kmart for years when I was a kid. Growing up, I remember she was telling me she used to walk around with a handful of quarters at night because she had the guns and stuff in the sporting goods section. And then she worked little admin jobs and stuff. And to this day, she still works. She takes care of the elderly people. It's funny. She'll be
Wait,
like,
did
"Oh,
you
I got to
say
take
you said she walked around with a handful of
quarters back in the day at Kmart." So if they were
why?
to get robbed,
Okay.
if she were to hit them with a roll of quarters, it
Oh,
would be a
okay.
little bit more for the punch. I mean, this is mid
Okay.
80s. It's not like anybody was going to do anything, but I guess an old cop had told her that because she was worried about having the money and the guns late at night.
Well, I was just yeah, I know the Rougeaus talk about you've heard that, right?
Yep.
Knocking out Dynamite Kid with the $10 of quarters.
That's what she had, a roll of quarters.
Okay, when you said a handful of quarters, I was like, was she just gonna throw them at him? But
Nah.
once you say a roll of quarters, and I think most people here would know what most people remember rolling up quarters. I know I do. I bought many
Or
skateboards
unrolling
that
for the
way.
arcade.
Well, I used to roll them. I used to buy my skateboards that way. My dad come home from work, and he'd put all his change. Just when you had to have change for the vending machine. He worked at Dodge Truck, and I started taking it, and I eventually had this. My mom, it was an old sewing desk of my mom's, and there was a whole drawer, and my friends called it the change drawer. And I'd roll quarters, and then I'd roll dimes or whatever, and I'd buy skateboards. And then I started just putting them in a bag, and I'd go to the shop and I'd buy skateboards, and I'd have the bag. And I never forget. It was an older lady. Her sons gave her it, and I hand her like the bag of how much money. I said, "There's so much money in it," and she just starts putting them in. She doesn't even start counting them. I go, "You're not going to count that?" And she goes, "You have been buying skateboards here and stuff for so long with quarters or with change. You've never ripped me off. I'm not worried if you are over or short, a couple quarters." And I ended up working for her for probably about 4 years. You know,
Yeah, back then
'cause
people could trust each other.
yeah. And she used to count them all out, and then I'll never forget. Like, she just took it and she said it like she's not counting. I go, "You're not going to count it?" She's like, "Dude, you've been coming in doing this. If you were someone new that came in, yeah, but you've been coming in and doing this for quite some time."
My grandfather used to keep his change in a Philip Masters cigar box under the bed, and he never smoked a
Oh,
cigar a day in his life.
oh man, I was just saying to my daughter. Was it my daughter? I was just saying something. We're talking about not cigar boxes, but the crayon boxes. It might have been actually. It might have actually been last week with Chaz. And the awful smell you got once the crayons started mixing together.
Yeah,
Oh, just the absolute worst smell ever. All right, so you're an only child. You're not spoiled though, but it sounds like you were taken good care of. And then you have your cousin, two little
hmm
cousins. So what other toys did you? I hate saying collect. We didn't collect when we were kids. We played with them. What other toys were you into that you played with?
Lego, GI Joe, Hot Wheel. What else did I have? Wrestling. I had a lot of wrestling figures as a
Okay,
kid, and that
and
was probably
and
the main stuff. The other stuff was, friends would have stuff that I would play with.
but you weren't into
Little,
like obviously not Transformers. What about He-Man or nothing like that?
I had a couple He-Man. I think I had like maybe a main character and a main bad guy of each line of like
Right. So let
He-Man
me
and
ask you this.
Skeletor.
So like I know I was, people they joke about all the stuff that I had as a kid, but I was like, I didn't. I mean, I had Transformers, I had He-Man, and GoBots. I had some of that, but I only really loved GI Joe.
Mhm.
So when you're looking through that book, you might be highlighting other stuff, but it's like, this is what I really want. This is what I really want, and that's why I have had such a big GI Joe collection, because I wasn't asking for, you know, Castle Grayskull, and I wasn't asking for, the new Optimus Prime or whatever. It's like I wasn't asking for other expensive toys.
I wasn't getting stuff brand new in package, and my stuff came from yard sales. Like my mom would work on
Okay.
Saturdays. Kmart was busy, so where was I going? My grandmother would open up the newspaper. She'd circle wherever she wanted to circle. We'd jump in her '78 Chrysler Newport, puke mint green, and I'd go
The
yard sailing.
Newport.
Oh my God. Rest her soul. I remember we were picking up medication for her one day after school, and I'm probably 5 or 6 years old, man. And I'm leaning on the thing, and I hope my mom ends up seeing this video, because I told her I was gonna be on tonight. Not that she watches YouTube. I was like, Mom, you're gonna have to watch this. But we were driving in the car with my grandmother. She picks me up from school, and I went to Catholic school as a kid. And I remember I was still in uniform up to fourth grade. And I'm like leaning on the passenger side door of the car, 84, 5, whatever it was, whatever year. Back then, we didn't wear seatbelts. Cars didn't have automatic locks. So it's this horseshoe parking lot. So she leaves me in the car. She goes into the Bolax real quick to get her little medication that she was. I think she's diabetic at the time. She grabs her meds, comes back out. She was in like 2 minutes. I mean, literally, she walks in, gets her meds, comes out. And I'm still sitting in the car playing whatever. And she takes off outside the parking lot and goes to go in out the other way of the parking lot. And as she turns the car left, all of a sudden I feel a door open up and I fall out the damn car. And she looks over at me. She's like, Billy. I'm like, ma'am, can I get back in the car? Like I'm kind of hurting, like starting to cry a little bit. She goes, what the hell are you doing falling out the car? Get back in the damn car. We got to go. I was like, all right. I just got in the car and rolled out. But that car was a beast, man. 78 Newport, mint green too. Oh,
Is the Newport the same as the Cordoba?
I don't
Same
know. My
body
grandfather
style?
was a Chrysler guy.
I had a 78 Chrysler Cordoba. I think it's very similar. Someone will tell us. That was the first car that my dad bought me, and it was a beater. And I wouldn't drive it for the longest time. I kept driving his car, and finally he was like, I'm not going to keep driving this car. And then when you start driving it, and then you realize like how beat up it is, but at the same time, you no longer have to worry about it. You're not worried.
Yeah.
Like it had it was beige and had a burgundy door. The the driver's side mirror broke, so my dad accidentally found one of those big 6x9 mirrors at Dodge Truck when he worked there. It just accidentally fell into his bag. He screwed it on.
Talking like the old truck mirrors, the big ones.
It was actually for a Dakota.
Jesus.
It was for a Dakota, but like the early Dakotas where you would move, yeah. But the old 6x9 truck mirrors. So he just wood screwed it in. The felt started falling down, so he went in with stapler and just started stapling the top. But you start to enjoy that, like like this is awesome.
So I was 17 years old, I think. My mom gave me a car for my 16th birthday, or whatever it was, and I got my driver's license, and she gave me a checkbook, and she's like, you missed a payment, the car's mine. I mean, it was her old car. It's not like it was anything special. No, it was an 89 Escort. But I wrecked it. I hit a deer.
Ooh.
And then my grandfather found a 1980 Plymouth Volare, sky blue. It looks like an old Nova. It was a clunker, slant six. You couldn't kill a motor. Connecticut's got emissions. You have to pass admissions in order to get the car registered. So he gets the car from this guy that he knew, down the street. My grandfather knew everybody. And I go to take the car to emissions to get it inspected, and they fail me. I'm like, well, what did I fail for? Like, oh, your exhaust is coming through your quarter panels in the rear. So, that will leak into the car. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, what do I got to do? Like, well, just get it fixed and come back down. You got X amount of days, So I'm 17 years old. I'm like, oh, I can fix this. I'm working on race cars at the time on the side with one of my best friends. I'm like, I can do this.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm doing I go back to my grandfather's house where we still lived at the time, and open up the garage. There's an old can of Bondo in there. Who knows how long that stuff is? I put the sheet metal from my buddy's house in there, put the Bondo on, wake up the next morning, go down to look at the car. Nope. Sheet metal's laying on the ground. Bondo's all cracked. It was the middle of February. I wasn't thinking. It didn't dry. So it just fell over. So I told my grandpa, I was like, hey, I got to get this car inspected. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to fix it. He goes, where's the metal you got? Because he knew I got it from my buddy Cliff. So I give him the metal. He goes, go up to the shed and there's a can up on top of the shelf up in the shed. And the shed was, a couple 100 yards up the hill. So I go up there, come back down with the can. My grandfather opens it up. He goes, I'm going to put this in here. He goes, go down and get it inspected. Don't ever worry about it. He goes, but don't ever put anything in your trunk. I'm like, what is it? He goes, it's roofing tar. So he puts the sheet metal in, and it kind of just folds it. And I hold my hand on it. My cousin holds his hand on it. And my grandfather just slaps roofing tar all on the inside of the rear quarter panel and says, go get it inspected. I went down there, passed inspection, no problem. That was like 90, probably 96, I think. 96, 97. So I take this car from Connecticut all the way down to North Carolina when I first get stationed here. Then 3 years later, I take the same car that I'm still driving in 2000 down to Fort Rucker, Alabama. So this car has made it from Mass, Connecticut area all the way down to Alabama. I sell that car to a buddy of mine about a year after when I met my first wife and found out we were getting pregnant and everything else. I told my buddy, I said, hey man, it's got some issues. I said, but don't change the oil in it. Just add a little bit of oil to it. Don't go messing with too much stuff. I'm like, the car will run as long as you don't mess with it. He just needed a hoopty to get back and forth to work. Well, I had an old wool blanket in the back. It was an army blanket in case it ever broke down. I'm from the north. I know we break down in the wintertime. We're going to probably freeze our ass off without heat in the car.
Yeah.
And he goes to pull the damn blanket out the car after like a month later. And he calls me. He's like, hey, man, it's like Dookie. I'm like, yeah. He goes, hey, we need to come over and help me look at his car. I'm like, what's wrong with it? He goes, man, the quarter panel's all messed up. So I walk over there because we were on post, living on post together, but in different houses. I walk over to his place. He opens up the truck. He's like, you ain't going to believe what I did. I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, he opens the trunk. I look in the trunk. I'm like, dude, you pulled the blanket out? He goes, yeah, I tried, but the quarter panel came with it. It was the roofing tar. I was like, dude, I told you don't mess with that damn shit. But it stayed, man. It stayed. My grandfather, he was never wrong.
I can say that I had no roofing tar in my car. As many things as my dad did, never saw roofing tar. So, but that is awesome. See, like stuff like that, like those are the stories. Those are the things you will remember for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
As you get older, like those are the stories you pass on to your kids. Even though they may be looking at you like you're an idiot, they're going to remember that. So my dad told me this stupid ass story about roofing tar, and it's it's going to evolve. It's going to evolve over time. When you have grandkids and all that. So, but anyway, going back to, well,
I got a grandson.
we'll get to that. I hope it's not that 7-year-old you were talking about.
No, that's the uncle.
It's not for that 7-year-old. So as you start to get a little bit older and you go into middle school, are you still playing with toys, or are you starting?
Yeah, on and off.
Okay,
on and off, and then I kind of got into plastic model cars.
Okay. Now that was in middle school before you get into high school, or?
Yep. And then you brought up Star Trek the other day, which I thought was kind of funny. I had Star Trek Next Generation figures.
The Playmates?
I think so, like 4 or 5 inch figures.
Yep.
Yeah,
I had a lot of them too.
A ton of them.
They're not a lot of fun because Star Trek was never like action based with the figure, with the characters per se. But I like them. I still see them like they bring back a nice memory. Like just like 95 Power of the Force. There's just something about it that it's like, yeah, we dogged on this, but now that I look back at it 30 years later, holy shit.
They're still worth the same as they were 30 years ago from last I looked for the Star Trek Next Generation. And I had them all mint in box too. Like they were just in a tote.
Well, the Next Generation, they've actually gone down in price if they're on.
That made my mom feel better.
Those are the ones that you're like, Oh, hey, yeah. That's actually gone down in price, and it's mint on card. So as you get into high school, what are you doing? I mean, are you one of those kids that still plays, like, still has toys? Did you move into comics, music, anything like that? Because normally when we get in high school, we start. Not everyone, but most of us start to shift away from it because it's like girls. For me, it was skateboarding, sports. What were you doing when you got into high school?
A little bit of everything. I had an old boss tell me in the army, key to longevity is flexibility, and I think that really resonates with me
Okay.
because I was that guy that could go from the skaters to the potheads to the metalheads to the emo guy to the the grease monkeys. Um, as far as toy wise, I was collecting, didn't realize it until I started thinking about this a couple months ago. I had starting lineup figures, and not just like one team. It was like I had Boomer Esiason, Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. It's like I was collecting the starting lineup figures and not even realizing it. But
That's,
I was
I
a
mean,
sports kid too.
and that's what I've said about, like, because I slept in my dad's basement. I would take everyone's old skateboard and I'd hang it on the wall because there was no paneling. So the studs were the perfect size for, like, just hanging up a board.
Yep.
And I look back at it, it's like I was collecting skateboards and they weren't new or anything. They were all old. I didn't realize I was collecting. And you kind of
Yeah.
realize, like, it's always been in me. I've
Yep.
always been collecting something. And it's as you get older that you realize, oh, I'm a collector. I have issues. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're the same way. Like, you look at all this starting lineups and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I have issues.
And I wish I still had some of those. I mean, I grew up as a 49ers fan, but that's because my
Okay.
grandparents went out to see my grandmother's sister in San Francisco, and I was like 3 or 4 years old when they came back. Little vacation. They went out and they came back and they had remember those old canvas bags from the early 80s, late 70s? They were school
Yeah.
bags and they had two button snaps on them. I got a
Yep.
49er bag, and that was my
Okay.
school bag. I didn't know anything about football. So I grew up a 49ers fan, and then, of course, being where I'm from, you can't not be a Pats fan.
Yeah, but was it like that growing up in the 80s and the 90s? I mean, they didn't get good till the late 90s.
No, not for the
I mean,
Pats. I mean, but you still pull for your team regardless in that
uh,
area,
I
though. But
I tend to agree with that, but I grew up in Detroit. I still am in Detroit. And I wrote off being a Lions. I still follow the Lions because it's what they talk about in sports. But it's like, if they win, awesome. Those people deserve it. If they lose, I don't lose any sleep over it. I don't understand how people. I have a hard time understanding how people root for another team if there's no connection to it. Like you said, like,
oh,
they came back with a 49ers bag, but that was as a kid. So you
yep.
probably didn't know any better. So to you, it was just
Military,
like
you'll see that all throughout the military. You'll see guys, they're like, "Where'd you grow up, man? Where are you from?" And they'll say, they're from Washington State, but yet they're a Yankees fan. And then whatever team is hot at the time, that's
that.
for that sport. That's what they are. It's like, man, you got no roots.
See, and that drives me nuts. Like, I
Yep.
can't. I mean, there's other hockey clubs that I like, but I'm a Detroit Red Wing fan. There's other baseball team. I'm not a big baseball fan, but I root for the Tigers. The Pistons. There's other
Hometown
teams
guy.
that you might like. Yeah, there's other teams you might like, but in the end, if, like, the team that I root for isn't playing, then I don't care.
I remember when the Whalers left Connecticut and came down here to North Carolina.
Yep.
My grandfather was like, they weren't worth anything anyhow. I mean, we're right on that Mass border, so you can usually draw a line straight down Connecticut. And if you're east of Hartford, you're a Boston fan. If you're west of Hartford, you're a New York fan. And we were far northeast, so we were always Bruins fans when we watched hockey.
The Whalers weren't really good.
They still aren't. It's just North Carolina doesn't have anything else, so go Canes,
Well, they've won 2 Stanley Cups,
Yeah.
and then they got swept by the Red Wings one year. So, um, but we also know that because Peter Kamanos of Kamanos Institute, who he wanted to move him to Michigan. He wanted to have a second team in Michigan, but there was no way that the Illiches, who own the Red Wings, were going to allow that. So that's why he moved him down to the Carolina.
Yeah, they can keep him here. I'll still pull for black and gold.
They have nice uniforms. I'll give them that.
They do, and they've got a huge following here too. It's just not for me. Most of these people couldn't even lace up a pair of skates.
Oh, dude, as someone who can ride around on a skateboard and it's second nature, I try and get on hockey skates, on ice skates, on roller skates, and I'm like, and people are like, dude, you can skateboard, and I'm like, it's different.
Yeah,
I don't. I can get around. I'm not one of those people that I can't even balance, but I don't. And then
I can ice skate, but I can't, and I can skateboard. I used to, but I cannot snowboard, which is weird.
oh, snowboarding's so easy.
And I grew up skating on a pond.
Yeah, snowboarding is the easy one. You're strapped in. That's the only problem. You're strapped in, so when you fall,
Yeah,
it goes with you. So it sounds like through high school you were doing all kinds of stuff.
yep.
You
Mostly
went,
working. I mean, a lot of working. Like my grandfather made me pick tomatoes when I was 5 years old before I went to school every day.
oh wow.
That's just the kind of person he was. And he had a good little garden. It was like a little side hustle for him. But I used to have to go out and pick a basket of something: cucumbers, tomatoes, squash, strawberries, something before I went to school every morning.
Wow. Did you hate it back then? And then, like
I
as a
wish now that
kid,
he's
you
I mean,
probably
he was the kind of person he'd tell you once or twice, and then after that he expected it.
okay.
He grew up very very rough. He lost his leg at the age of 5, so
Oh wow.
he taught me a very hard work ethic.
And that's good because kids today don't have it. And even if you do, sometimes it's hard to instill it in them. I
It is.
wish it was easier. God, I wish it was easier. I'm not saying I know this from personal experience. So from personal experience. So after you graduate, do you go to college? Sorry. I'm assuming you graduated because you did go to the military.
I just signed a piece of paper. They faked me in. No, I did. I graduated.
Okay. I only asked because
Um,
I asked. I said it. I said after you graduated to one person, they said I didn't graduate. I went, wow, I really put my foot.
no, I
So
did.
did you go right into the workforce? Did you join the military right away?
I didn't go in the workforce until 5 years ago when I
Well, you
retired
went
from the
in.
Army.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
So,
I mean that is so. So you didn't go to college. You went right into the military.
yep. So
Okay.
I wanted to go to college, but I was too stupid. C and D student. I didn't care about grades. As long as I passed and didn't get my butt whooped when I got home, I was fine. So I was 17 years old. I told my mom Sergeant Slaughter was one of the main reasons I joined the military, because GI Joe, I wanted to be like him. But I was 17 years old and told my mom, I said, hey, I want to join the Army. And she goes, why? I said, I want to serve my country. She's like, okay. And we have a strong military background in our family. And she's like, I don't know how I feel about that, because her cousin was killed during Vietnam by his own people. So she was kind of hesitant, and I'm her only
Okay.
son. So she's like, well, let me think about it. Give me a day. So I gave her a day, and I told her, she's like, you're not going to change your mind, are you? I said, no, I'm going to join. And if you don't want to sign for me now, I'll just wait till I'm 18 and join. So I went to recruiters, and they gave me the whole spiel. Like, you can be John Rambo or whoever you want to be, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. They're like, what do you want to do? I said, well, I need to do a trade when I get out, because my grandfather and my neighbor, who was just coming out of the Army, he had told me, he's like, get a trade. He's like, they're going to blow smoke up your ass to get you to do whatever job they need you to do. He's like, get a trade. So if you don't like the military when you come out, you've got something to fall back on.
That's an
So I went as,
interesting. That's interesting to hear.
yep. So I went in as a mechanic, and I've been turning a wrench since I was 7 or 8 years old anyhow. So it was natural to me.
And it's funny you say that. I had a friend, a buddy, he was in the Navy, and he said when you join the Air Force or the Navy, they put you in a job that they think that you'll be good for, and then they turn you into an airman or a sailor or seaman. He said the Army and the Marines are the exact opposite. They turn you into soldiers in the Marines and then decide where they're going to put you. And so you went in with the exact opposite, like the exact opposite look. Like you knew, like, hey, I walk out of here, I need to be able to do something. And I think that's
I mean,
awesome.
the other shit appealed to me. I mean, who wouldn't want to kill bad
Yeah.
guys for a living and get paid for it? But at the time, I mean, 98, you're talking what, Bosnia and Herzegovina? It's not much was going on in the world.
Yeah.
So I knew I would have been stagnant anyhow. I could see it even back then. And I was like, well, let me at least get a trade because I don't know if I'll ever go to college. And back in that time frame, you had to have a college degree if you wanted a good paying job when you got out.
Yeah. At least you
So,
thought you did.
yeah. 3 years, I was going to go in, do that for 3 years, get out, become a cop. And then my 3 years came up and I was like, well, this mechanic job isn't that bad. My best friend I grew up with had moved down to Charlotte, which was close to me. So I was like, let me see if I can get a job with a Hummer because that's what I came in as, a Hummer mechanic. And I called them. They're like, yeah, you have to have 4 years experience. I was like, 4 years? They're like, yeah, we need to have 4 years experience before we'll hire you as a mechanic in the civilian world to work on Hummers. I'm like, you realize I work on this shit every damn day of my life, right? Like, yes, you have civilian vehicles, but I probably know these things better than your master techs. They're like, still need 4 years. So I didn't want to go home. Wasn't ready to be a cop. So I reenlisted. And then 23 years later, I said I was finally done.
I remember after I graduated high school and you start getting jobs or you're starting to find jobs or whatever. And it was crazy because every job at the time, especially again, I didn't go to college. It's like we want 3 years of experience, but they don't want to hire you. It's like, how does someone get 3 years of experience if you won't give someone a chance to put their foot in the door?
Yeah.
Right.
Just like a credit report. They want to
Yeah,
have good credit, but how do you get it if you can't get it? Because you
yeah.
don't
And
have
it's
any.
like, if you're not going to train people, and again, it wasn't like it was one company, it's all these companies. And it's like, you want 4 years experience, but you're not willing to train anyone. So when in the company the company I've been with for 24 years, I can bitch about it all I want, but I haven't been there for 24 years because I hate it that much. And you start off at the bottom and I worked my way up, you know, pretty well. And I've said, like, my ex used to be like, why don't you try and go find a job somewhere else? I'm like, no one's going to pay me what I make here because my worth here, because the owner knows me, the clients know me, they know they can send me in to smooth over when someone causes a problem, is different than if I went to another place that I'm just another technician.
Yep.
And it's way different when again, if you're working in a corporation, it's completely different than when you're working at I don't work at a mom and pop's copier shop, I wouldn't say. We're a pretty large dealership, but I could call the owner right now and say, hey, I need this. Can I get it? You know? So, okay. So you go there, you have 3 years. You plan on staying there for 3 years, but they need 4 years. So you decide to stay, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I ended up reenlisted for the Army.
Okay. Now, you said you started as a mechanic, but at some point you became a drill sergeant?
Yeah, so the way the military is, at least for the Army,
You didn't seem like you're like, yeah.
well, you start off as a wrench, of course. Whatever your job is, you're a little peon. You're going to do whatever you're supposed to do. And,
Yeah.
other guys would get, I was in an artillery unit. These guys aren't shooting artillery rounds every day. So these numbskulls are out there up in their room. And this is like when Madden first hit the streets, everybody's playing Madden all day. And I'm out there in the motor pool, sun up, sun down, dirty, nasty, greasy. But after you do that for a few years, you earn your stripes and stuff like that. The higher up you go, the less you got to do getting dirty, and the more admin you got to do. So, I went to Iraq in 2004. Yeah, 2004. And then when I came back, I wanted to get to Afghanistan because both wars were happening at the same time. So I tried to not reenlist, but I tried to get to a different unit because my time was almost up in the one I was at. And at the same time, I put in for drill sergeant because that's something I always wanted to do with my career was become a drill sergeant. And I ended up getting picked
Okay.
up for drill sergeant. So I did that for 2 years and then went back to the maintenance side of the house for the Army.
Okay. I only ask because again I don't know much about the military. But were you in the the army or were you in the Army National Guard?
Active duty army.
Active.
Yep.
Okay. I was just wondering because you always hear people talk about how that is and how they look at National Guard and stuff. And again, I respect anyone that served because I didn't have the guts to serve, and I'm proud that anyone did. But you hear people, and I work with a Navy lifer. He's actually the reason why I have the job where I'm at. Um, and they'll always laugh about it, and I'm like, hey, I have no room to laugh, but I know the stigma.
I got room to laugh. I saw my wife is big into politics, and I know you don't cover politics that much, and I'm not a political guy, but my wife was telling me about I guess the law enforcement is going on in DC with the military. And I looked over at the TV and I was like, damn. She's like, what? I'm like, man, the damn uniform's got stretch marks. I'm like, this is freaking pathetic for these people. They could at least put some fit people on TV instead of these ones. She's like, well, they're guard. I'm like, well, that explains a lot.
I have no room. Like I said, I didn't do that, but that makes me laugh though. Anyway, so how do you end up being? You said you were a drill sergeant.
Yep.
So what ranking
Is it?
is that? Is it
Drill sergeant when I was there was E5 to E7.
okay?
And all you had to do is put in for it. They do it two different ways. The needs of the Army, which means Uncle Sam says, hey, we need you to do this job, regardless of what your job actually is. Or you can volunteer to do it to try to help for promotion. So it was just something I always wanted to do ever since I came in anyhow. So I volunteered for it when my timing was right and they selected me to do it. And I did it for 2 years
Okay.
in Fort
Now,
Benning, Georgia.
did you enjoy it?
Loved every minute of it.
Really?
Every minute. For the most part. I mean, they're long days. You're at work at 4:30 in the morning. You're probably going home at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. I drove 30 minutes to work because I lived in Alabama but worked in Georgia. So I wasn't getting much sleep, but it was the satisfaction you get of seeing a lump of clay get molded into a beautiful piece of art at the end of it. You can't, there's no words for that. Seeing the accomplishment on the kid's face themselves of, hey, I just completed basic training. I'm proud of myself, as they should be.
Yeah.
There's only a certain percent can do it, but it was a hell of an experience.
Now, do you find yourself still waking up super early, like no matter what? Is that just
Hell,
ingrained
well,
in you?
yeah, 3 o'clock when my 7-year-old tries to crawl in the bed because he's having night terrors lately. But no, I hate getting up early.
Okay. I wish Ed was here because Ed Action Fix. I don't know how long he served, but he's like, well, he said that he wakes up early no matter what. But I know at Joe Fest, I was up before both those fuckers. And I mean, I'm walking around and neither one, well, Tony may have woke up at times, but Ed was out.
At our age, we're all waking up early, but that's just to go piss.
Well, I don't wake up. I just wake up to go piss and then I try to get back into bed.
Yeah.
God, I don't like thinking about that. Thanks a lot. There may come that time when you finally start to wear that adult diaper and you're like, you know what? This isn't that bad.
I've thought about it.
This isn't that bad. All right. I think the worst part for me when I have to get up and go piss is when Roman has tried waking me up to go to, I'm like, just lay down. And then you get up to go piss and you're kind of looking over at him and he's like, yeah, I know, but I have to walk all the way downstairs to let you out. If you can figure out how to go on the toilet, you can just get up and go. Hell, you can jump in the bathtub and just go. All right. Like we'd be all good.
That's funny. I end up stubbing my toe usually at night and waking the wife up because she's closer to the bathroom than I am. So I have to go around the bed and it's dark and yeah, right foot takes a beating.
After a while, you just can't hold it anymore, man. Like,
or you get kidney stones from holding it.
So, he just had a kidney stone, so he should know. This is how I determine if I'm getting up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I look at the time and then decide what time the alarm's going off. do I have enough time to go to the bathroom and then get back and go back to sleep? Or is it not worth it? And I'm just going to lay here and hold it for the next 20 minutes.
The worst is when you got to wake up to go shit in the middle of the night. That's happened a couple of times. That's the worst part.
Yeah, that's, and at least for me, that's normally one of those things where you should have went before the end of the night, but you're like, I really didn't have to go. And then it's always, your stomach just hits and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to move.
In the middle of a dead sleep too.
What does 3 Star say? At least you can open the door with Roman. When Pretzel does that, I have to leash him and go out with him. No, you're absolutely, yeah. I have a nice fenced-in yard, but I also have to smell for skunks because I know there's another one around here because I've seen it a couple times, and there have been a few times I've walked down like at 3 a.m. with him. I open up that door, I smell it, and I'm like, you have to hold it, buddy. Like, I'm sorry. I am not letting you get sprayed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm here trying to clean you up. Because it doesn't matter what time it doesn't matter when it happens. If your dog's ever gotten sprayed by a skunk, that shit is there for the next month.
Never had an animal. My mom told me my aunt got sprayed by one.
Oh.
Yeah. Like 1960 something, and they had to dump her in the tub with a whole bunch of ketchup or tomato paste and sauce.
Tomato paste. Yeah, so what I use is a mixture of baking soda, peroxide, and dish soap. And the dish soap, it's because the spray is an oil. The dish soap breaks it up. Baking soda basically starts to clean it up, and peroxide does the same thing. I know how harsh that is on my hands, so I can only imagine how harsh it is on his skin. And I know the last time I did it, you could tell how bad it was, and you have to go back and wash them over a couple of times. It's the worst. Anyway, enough of that because I don't want to think about that.
Dawn takes everything off. I don't care what it is. It's especially Dawn citrus.
There was a comedian that once talked about how NyQuil will fix anything. You break your arm, just take NyQuil. You'll wake up the next day and be like, man, I thought this thing was broken. That shit will knock you out. All right, so how long did you serve in the military?
23 years, 2 months, and 23 days.
God damn.
People ask, how do you know that? It's because they tell you when you retire, this is how long you served to make sure your paycheck's right for your retirement. I never would have thought that.
Wait. They tell you exactly why?
When you retire, you have to go through your retirement services. So when you go through all your services right before you get out, they're like, okay, first sergeant, this, when did you come in? So I thought I came in July 7th of 97. Thought for all those years. I retired. I came in 97, retired in 20. So I'm arguing with the guy. He's like, no, you did not come in 7 July 97. I'm like, yes, I did, dude. I know what day I went to friggin' basic training. He goes, no, you got in a plane to come to basic training 7 July. He goes, you actually came in 8 July of 97. So your total time, he tells me my time was 23 years, 2 months, 23 days, because that'll affect your pay. Because if you go over a 30-day or 31-day window, it'll add one more month. It could affect your retirement pay. So they want to make sure that they're clear when you actually retire. So there's no discrepancies on your pay. So number just stuck with me. I was surprised.
All right. So you were in there till 20. Now, somewhere in that, during that, you said you met your first wife.
Yep.
So
yeah,
how does that go about? Because obviously you're able to meet people. Now, during this time, are you collecting anything? Are you collecting toys? I mean, are you said you found out you were a collector, but were you collecting anything?
No, I wasn't. Not really. I mean, like just a little bit of clothes here, maybe a couple of video games, but I wasn't collecting. I was just purchasing,
Okay.
But
and that's different.
I left North Carolina and went down.
This is collecting.
Yeah. I wanted to do it in the other room, but I shared a toy room with my son. Like half the room is mine and stuff in cabinets, and the other half is his stuff that's out on the table. And I was like, my wife's like, "You gonna move everything in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that." I said, "My phone will take a crap." I said, "I'm not moving it." I said, "I'll just do it in the little pocket office we got." But no, I ended up going down my first reenlistment. They put me down in Alabama, and I didn't know anything about Alabama. Now I'm from up north, like deep north, original north, and end up
Yeah.
in Alabama. It was not pretty for a little while. But I had first gotten there, and I was newly promoted. So I not only am I turning a wrench, but I'm also now running the shop at 20 years old, whatever, 21 years old. And I decided I need to start taking college classes for promotions, because the more college you have, the more chances you're going to get promoted, because it goes
Okay.
off a point system.
Oh,
So
that's
I
interesting.
started
I didn't
with
know that.
yeah, civilian education is big for the military. They push it quite a bit. Um, so I signed up for college classes and started taking this college class. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like, I don't know, social study. It was something. I ended up meeting my wife there, and then shortly after 3 months, we were married, and then we had a boy together, Cadence, and then that lasted for a few years until I came off as a drill sergeant, and then we ended up getting divorced.
All right. So, and you said you have a grandson or a grandchild.
Yeah.
You didn't say grandson. You said grandchild. So, is that the only child that you have from that
Now,
previous?
so my wife I'm with now, um, we knew of each other in high school, but we didn't know each other.
Okay.
She's 2 years younger than me, and she always makes a joke that I would walk by in my black steel-toe boots, and I pushed her against a wall locker because I was going to shop class or something, and I was trying to hurry up. But she had a daughter previous with a guy previously. So when we got together, we met on Facebook. We reconnected on Facebook at the time, and she had commented about something. I don't know what it was. We just started talking, and then we ended up long distance dating for a year while I was in Miami, and then she ended up moving down there, and she's been with me thankfully ever since.
Okay.
So
So,
I got a 23-year-old stepdaughter, and that's the one that has the grandson.
okay. And then how old's your son?
My oldest son is 22 from my first wife, and
Yeah.
then my current wife and I had a son. When my stepdaughter was 18, we found out she was pregnant, so that's how we got the 7-year-old.
That is a huge age gap.
Oh, you ain't telling me.
And I know because my stepdaughter was 9 when Andrew was born. And so she was 12 when Olivia was born. So it's cute at first, and then it's then it's annoyance, and now she lives in California with her boyfriend. And I know that my son will FaceTime her and her boyfriend. I know my daughter does too all the time. But even my ex was like, because I've kind of bitched at my ex about the whole like, dude, Emily's kind of enabled him. And they're like, no, even they're annoyed with him because they're like, you need to stop. Like to my son, they're like, we are working. You can't bug us all the time because you're at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's good. Maybe they'll help out.
She was
maybe they'll
great, though.
get maybe they'll get it going. But
She was
yeah,
like an in-house babysitter for us for a little bit. She helped out. I mean, hell, I remember my wife found out she was pregnant. She took the piss test here at the house, and I was at work doing PT with my guys. And I was a first sergeant at the time, so I was out doing a run. And that day, I decided to actually do a long run. And I'm sitting there running and come back, and my phone. I never took my phone with me for PT because you didn't have any pockets to put your stuff in. So I come back and I had like 30 missed calls, 40 text messages, blah, blah, blah. And I call my wife. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, you didn't see my calls? I'm like, babe, I was doing PT. What's up? She goes, we're pregnant. And I was like, oh, fuck. And my commander heard it. He's like, Pop, you all right? I was like, man, I'm having a kid. And he started laughing his ass off. He's like, damn, you too old for that shit, first sergeant. I said, well, it happens, but I wouldn't change it. That kid he's amazing.
I
He's funny.
I will say this: I see people in their 40s having kids, and I'm like, why? They're not for they're for young people.
They are.
And I mean, when my ex and I split up, I was almost 40. like 38 or so. So you meet girls that like when you're 40 and they're talking about wanting to have kids, and I'm like, I'm done having kids. I have my kids, and they're like, oh, so and so, look how old this. I'm like, first off, that old guy, he's rich. They have nannies, but two, like, my knees are shot. My back is
Hmm.
shot from, but I still want to do that stuff. And kids don't care because they're not
No.
supposed to care. They want to jump on you when you get home, and they
Yep.
don't care that your knees hurt. And when you get down on the ground, getting down on the ground is not the problem. It's getting up. It's the getting up and the crackling. So,
Or the
um,
cramping.
yes. And then no cartilage left. And again, I'm assuming being in the army, again, I lifted weights for years, skateboarded my whole entire life. That takes its toll on you. I'm assuming being in the military sure doesn't help. I know my buddy, the guy I work with, Jimmy, he served on he served on boats not his whole entire life, because he was also stationed in Italy as an officer or police officer, not as an officer. And he's like, I didn't realize how much damage being on that boat with all steel takes on you. And you don't think about it, especially when you're a kid, right? Because when you're 20, man, you just wake up and you're ready to go.
I did
It,
not take care of my body at all, any
I
part
well,
of my life whatsoever.
exactly. So let me ask you this. You said you rode in a motorcycle with a motorcycle club, and I'm
Yep.
not really going to get into that, but I'm assuming you must have some sort of enthusiasm towards, I'm assuming, Harleys, or is it any motorcycle?
My uncle Jim took me on a bike when I was a kid. I don't know, probably 8 or 10 years old, and put that bug in me. And then I always wanted a bike, but I was working so much in the military, and they had so many strict rules about having all your stuff. You had to have covered head to toe, and I'm like, man, if I'm going to ride a bike, like that's an oxymoron. I want to wear what I want, not have to wear everything that you got to be covered up in. But I told my wife I'm married to right now a couple years ago, well, probably 10. I went to go look at a motorcycle with a buddy of mine. He was thinking about buying one. And she's like, what are you doing? I said, we're just going to go look at bikes. And I'm like, I promise I'm not buying a motorcycle today. She's like, all right, good. We can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. So we go up to Raleigh and we start looking at motorcycles. It was a Victory. I mean, this is Polaris used to own them. Now they're gone. Indian ended up taking over the namesake for Polaris or for Victory. They kind of rolled two brands into one.
Yeah.
But we went up there, and next thing I know, I was calling the bank, and then I called my wife, and I said, I'm almost positive I'm buying a bike today. And she all about freaking lost it. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you don't even have a motorcycle's license. I was like, I've never even seen you ride a motorcycle. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of just bought a motorcycle, and that bug's been there ever since. I mean, it was always there. I just never got a chance to ride.
Now, how long ago was this?
2015, 10 years, because I bought the
Okay,
bike brand new.
so she was unhappy because you guys didn't have the money. You just went and you
Oh,
bought this.
we were good. It's just she's that long-term planner,
Okay.
and
Did
she's
you
the one,
say the
who
same
budgets
thing?
the stuff.
What about when she told you she was pregnant? Did you say, did you think about this? You
No, I was like, what the hell? I can't do 20 more years in the Army. That's for damn sure. But
So
that was
he's
a little
talking only,
spontaneous.
you know what? I'll let you in on a little secret. Not this girlfriend, but my girlfriend before her, she had the Kirby guy come, and I couldn't resist the Kirby. The vacuum cleaner.
Um,
Yeah, I bought
you know
one
how
of
many
those.
people got in trouble for that when I was in the military? They would come knocking on the doors. I'm like, dude, and the privates' wives would be like, oh yeah, it's a great vacuum cleaner. They're only making $400 a month, and they're buying a $2,000 vacuum cleaner. I hate those guys.
It was a great vacuum. I'm not gonna lie. It was heavy as fuck. It was great. But after you spend $2,000 on it and you sell it for like 400, I think, when you get laid off, you realize, like, damn it, that was not a good investment because I didn't get $1,600 worth out of vacuuming with that thing.
Yeah, I could not have a Kirby. No way.
I don't think I've ever mentioned about having a Kirby. That thing, I talked about how like the old what LJN wrestling figures were weapons. If you could pick up the Kirby and swing it at someone, you'd kill them.
Yeah, but you couldn't pick the Kirby up. That was the whole problem. That's why they drug it.
That's why you go to the gym and you you put in the effort in, and so you can move the vacuum. So,
but I do have a Harley now.
Okay, but so I take it that's just your bug. Like that's
kind of like riding was something I got into towards the end of my military career, and Hell's Angels and all the big clubs from way back in World War II were all started by World War II vets, and they came back to that whole adrenaline rush, and
yeah,
it's a true thing. Like to this day, there's still a rush in me, and I've got to feel it. It's an addiction almost, So every so often, it's just like I need to go ride, and I just get on the bike and just ride for a little bit, even if it's just up to the gas station and back, But it's definitely something.
Is it an adrenaline rush for it? Like when you ride?
Depends how you ride too.
Okay.
I mean, some people just sitting there putting around doing the speed limit, or are you riding hard, leaning the bike in the corners? Are you not necessarily pushing it to the edge, but just that fact you don't have a cage around you. If something were to happen, I mean, I got sideswiped by a deer one night coming back from a motorcycle clubhouse. Scared the hell out of me. But the deer just like came up and just hit me off the side, bounced off me, and kept going. But I was like, man, that was cool, but I could have died.
He was probably happy it was a motorcycle and not a car.
I was happy it was a small deer, not a big one.
And the reason why I asked that is that I was watching a podcast and they had Tommy Guerrero on there, old pro skater. And, when they were talking about like him and his skating career, he's like, I still skate almost every single day. And they're like, do you like surf? He's like, I've never been surfing in my life. And like, really? Like, you don't have that adrenaline rush? And he was like, he goes, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. He goes, people think like I ride a skateboard, I've been a professional, I want to skydive, I want to surf. He's like, I just love skateboarding. It had nothing to do with being an adrenaline junkie like a lot of people. He's like, and I'm like, that is exactly how I see skateboarding. I've never wanted to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. That's what my dad always said.
Done it.
I'm sure I'm sure you have. I've never wanted to, ride a motorcycle. It serves like I'm not an adrenaline. I don't care for roller coasters, but a lot of people see like riding a skateboard and doing tricks and shit, not just cruising down the street. That it's an adrenaline rush. I'm like, no, I just love doing tricks. It has nothing to do with the adrenaline. There is a dopamine for sure. I mean, you land it, but it's not. I'm not looking for this big adrenaline.
I think the best way to explain it is motorcycles is adrenaline and G.I. Joes are dopamine.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a difference there, And I think I didn't have that rush until I used to jump, and jumping out of airplanes all those years. I think that's what the problem was. And then, of course, you come back from combat, you come back a little messed up. Everybody does. But it's just that need that you got to have something to go towards. And I've never been somebody that's steady and idle. I've got to keep going. And
I've said this for years. I said this when I was younger, like before I even really got into skateboarding, got into lifting weights. But I always said, because people, again, there were no older skateboarders. People would say to me, like, what are you going to skateboard when you're 40? And I was like, and I remember, I distinctly remember having this conversation with Natalie Abraham. And she goes, what are you going to skateboard when you're like 40? And I go, does your dad play basketball? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what is he, like 40? Yeah, he's in his 40s. I go, does that bother you? She's like, no, it's because it's a sport. I'm like, why is it any different? And
I don't think anybody I skated with is still skating today. Not that I would know, but last I heard, I don't think anybody is.
But I will say this, and this is what I used to tell the kids when I started skating again at 40. Now, my buddy, he's always skated because he never had kids or anything. I would tell the younger guys, I go, because like my boss doesn't really care for me skateboarding, but I'm not doing giant handrails. I'm not skating mega ramps. But to me, skateboarding it's second nature, right? And I would say some to the younger guys, and like, I don't understand why any of your why you say your bosses or anyone would care. I'm like, understand this: the old guys when we were young were like Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's only like
Yep.
7 years older. So if you're talking about a 15-year-old and you're talking, he's 22 years old, that's the old guy. I go, guys like us, and I don't mean like the pros that are still doing it. Guys like myself and Tony and my buddy Eric and some of these other guys, like we paved the way for the novice guys, the guys that just love it, to still be doing it in their 30s and their 40s and soon to be into our 50s. Like, that's why people aren't going to look at you and think that it's ridiculous. Because if you hurt yourself playing basketball at 40, no one says, dude, you can't be doing that. Right? If you're doing beer league hockey, no one's like, hey, you better stop playing hockey, right? But it still is that stigma, like, oh, because they can't skateboard, and
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, I understand. But again, I'm not gonna be here. We're all gonna go. I might as well do what I
Yeah.
love as long as I can.
I think when I skated, I think my buddy's ramp was either 12 or 15 half pipe that we built. It was big.
I've never even dropped it on a vert ramp, and I'm
It was
fine with
scary.
that. Oh yeah, and what's funny is that they built a vert ramp at the park that I go to, and this was a few years ago. The guys were like, "Yeah, you got to just drop in on it, like just to know." I go, I know I can drop in on it. There's no doubt. I mean, I have enough skill that I can do it, but I don't want to skate it. Like, I don't want to learn how to skate it, and the risk to reward at this age is not worth it.
It's
Because
not
if
worth
I
it.
fall, yeah, if I fall and get hurt, I still have child support. I still have a mortgage and a car payment, and I still have to go to my career, not a job, my career. And I go, that's not worth it for me.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that I look back now. I'm like, yeah, I can do it, but why do I want to do it? I don't need to do it. I don't need to prove it.
That's exactly it. I haven't done a backflip because I did a backflip on stage at commencements. I learned how to do backflips in gymnastics class in high school. You want to do anything that you could do in the hallways to showcase, to be center of attention. I haven't done one in probably 5 years. Do I think I could still do it? Yes. Have I tried one? Nope.
I'm more afraid of the heel time now than I am of the attempt. Like, if I hurt myself, how long is it going to take to get better?
Because and the last time I went in a pit at a punk show, it was about 13, 14 years ago. And some big guy fell on my ankle and it instantly just blew up. And I finished watching the show. My buddy I was with was like, do you want to go? I'm like, dude, I'm fine. I'm standing. It hurts. It's not going to get any better. So I want to watch Pennywise. Like I that's what we came for.
I've been on the lawn with a lawn chair in the back.
Yeah, no. And so since then, I've never gone back in a pit. And as a kid, I used to watch the old guys that would sit against the wall like this and watch it. And I used to always say, I never want to be that guy. I never want to be the guy holding up the wall. Now I am so happy to be that guy because I realize I don't need to be in a pit to have fun. I can actually watch it, watch the band play, listen to the music, let everyone else have their fucking fun. I'm not old grumpy guy that's like, stop doing, like, go have your fucking fun. Just let me sit back here and please make a little bit of space because I'm so short. It's hard to see over all of you.
I'm close to concessions. I'm close to the bathroom. I'm good.
Exactly. I don't need that, and again, it is one of those things where, especially being a punk rocker, you have this punk rock mentality. They're like, don't ever sell out and all this other stuff. And then when you get older, you realize like we all have to still survive. So what is really selling out? And that's why you see all these punk bands that are still going, making careers out of it. Many of them have won Grammys and stuff because they wrote songs for other people. You know, that you sit back and you're like, I'm glad I had that mentality as a kid, but as an older guy, it's awesome that I was able to switch and let everyone else have their fun.
Yep.
Have your fun. And if you're 50 and you can still go in the pit, God bless you. I don't, I have nothing to prove. All right. I've done it. So as you've gotten older here, obviously, you kind of talked about how you got into G.I. Joe. Now, do you collect other stuff?
Yes and no. Like I said, I like wrestling. I recently started getting, and I'm not going further than this. Originally, when I started getting GI Joe, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna get Dreadnoks, and that's it. That's my favorite subset. No, the first one I picked up was Scrap Iron and the face detail. I was like, damn, this is pretty damn badass, and it
Such a
just
good
went from
figure.
there. Yeah, but I'm only getting a Wyatt 6 for wrestling. I do have something big I want to do for that diorama, and then
Getting what?
the Wyatt 6 from wrestling.
The
So
Wyatt. Okay. I haven't watched wrestling
Bray,
in years, but I
you're
knew Bray
missing out on
Wyatt
some
is.
good shit.
I
So
I'm kind of
his
busy
little
on Mondays.
yeah, but there's you don't even
I
need a DVR anymore. You can just go back and hit
I
play.
I have no interest. Like that's what's I have no interest. And I remember the first real job that I had, like kind of in my industry. It was a co-op. And I was talking to my boss, and I remember him saying, I used to really watch wrestling, and stuff got in the way. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's only on Monday. Like, I'll always watch it. So every time I think about like how I don't watch it anymore, I became him. And I fully
Yep.
understand now. Like, you do start to shift your, like, when you get older, you're like, I said some pretty stupid stuff.
Yeah, it's Bray Wyatt's brother, and like the whole lore of him is kind of like getting pretty big. So
Now, did Bray
wrestling,
Wyatt die? Which one?
he did
He did. Okay, that's
COVID.
what I thought.
I think it's 2023, if
Yeah.
I remember right.
So the Wyatts are still a thing though because they're a family.
Yeah, his
Okay.
brother kind of picked up where the story was going, and has kind of
Yes.
continued the story.
Okay.
And then the only other thing is, I actually saw your review on Blanca, and I was like, shit, that looks like a badass little figure. So I went with my son. We were somewhere, and I picked Blanca up, and I was like, I opened it, and I was like, holy shit! Like this is a badass figure. And ended up getting another one for my kid because he wanted one so bad. But I was like, man, this thing is really posable. So GI Joe, Street Fighter, and then just very select on wrestling.
Chun-Li,
That's it.
man. I was like, I waited until I found Chun-Li, and then you get Chun-Li, and because again, I didn't like Street Fighter. Street Fighter took my friends away from skateboarding from me. That's the way I look at Street Fighter. But I have a connection to it. I got that Chun-Li, and I'm like, and I heard all the stuff, how good it was, and then you get it, and you're like, well, this is the only one I'm gonna get. But then you're like, hey, you know what? She needs someone to fight. She needs a Street Fighter to fight. And then I got Ken, and then I'm like, because I had no connection to this guy, like no connection to this guy whatsoever.
Fei Long.
They long. And then I went and it must have been a lull of something, and I went and got it because he was there, and I was like, damn, these things are so good. Like, and I was already saying it. Like, you just got to try one. And then when you pick up the first one you didn't want, and you're like, God damn
Blanca. If you pick up Blanca first, you're screwed every time.
it. You know what's funny is that um, DJ, is that his name?
Yeah, that's actually who I was going to try to get today was DJ and Dalsim, and instead I ended up walking out with 2 more Trench Vipers.
I have no connection to DJ at all. None at all. But I got the figure because I'm like, you know what? I'm collecting them. That's one of my favorite Street Fighter figures. And I don't know why. There's nothing great about them. Like, per se, like, there's no connection to them. And I'm just like, this is one of my favorite Street Fighter figures. So there's something about Jada just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, they
So
did
you
really
are,
good with those.
yeah. So you're Street Fighter, and then GI Joe, and then some wrestling.
Everything is. I even went down a rabbit hole. I bought the comics of Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe. The toy store I went to had a 6-pack or all of them at once.
Okay.
It's like $30. And I looked at him. I was like, John, how much is that set? He's like, I don't know, $30. I'm like, that's the only comic they had. He's like, yeah, that was it. But I do remember the figures as a kid, and I intermixed them as a kid. So in my headspace, Street Fighter belongs with G.I. Joe to a certain point.
3-star says DJ is probably the most expressive one, and photographs great. Yeah, and I have him with. Well, yeah, can I? Yeah, you'll like this since you're a wrestling fan. The Hawk Rule shirt
Hulkster.
fits perfect. Fits perfect down.
That's pretty good.
And I put it on him, and I'm like, I can't take it off now. It's just it. And he's giving a thumbs up to Hulk Hogan as he's going toe to toe with the Ultimate Warrior in a suit.
I was actually just putting together my Bray Wyatt figure because it came with a rocking chair. I was waiting on 2 of them to come in, and they've been in for a while, but I was just messing with that before we got on.
Matthew says Street Fighter vs. G.I. Joe was pretty good.
Yeah, I still haven't read it. I'm stacking the comics. I figured when I'm retired for good, I'll just start reading that stuff, but I'll get there eventually.
That can be a long ways away.
I don't know. My job's pretty intense at times. I'm starting to feel it the older I get.
So what do you do now for?
A road tech or service call guy, whatever you want to call it. But I work for John Deere, and not the lawnmowers. I work on the combines, the cotton pickers, the larger tractors, all the hay products. So, and right now it's kind of hurting. I mean, we got one guy out; he had surgery. Another guy was in the hospital for a week because he was injured. So it's just me in the shop.
So you're going to sites, I assume, and working on stuff?
Either outside or in the shop, whatever they need me at that day, and whoever takes priority.
Okay. And it sounds like you said, I don't know if you said it online or I don't know if you said it when we were live or before, but you said like you'd listen to the show like you have a 3-hour drive to get somewhere.
Yeah, I got one guy is up by Virginia border, and where I'm at, North Carolina, is more central South Carolina or central southern North Carolina. But I had like a 3-hour ride up to this guy's place, and that's when I was listening to a lot of your stuff. I just play it the next day, like on Tuesday, and just listen to a couple episodes. It'd kill the time and make the drive go by fast and everything.
I normally say I'm sorry, but I guess it's helps the time go by. So you're welcome.
Very entertaining. I mean, the rock station down here used to be 103.5 in this area, and Howard Stern used to be on it, in fact. And when he left that area, was it regular radio to go to satellite radio? That radio station tanked. So the rock station down here isn't that good, and then everything else is like R&B stuff. I don't listen to R&B, so I need to find something else.
3-star says, "Damn, Dookie, I bet you're slammed right now. It's harvest season."
Yeah, we're getting into corn, then tobacco, then cotton and soybeans.
So yeah, I can see why you're beat up every day.
Yep.
So then, with your collecting, when did you start? Did you start with G.I. Joe, or were you collecting other things?
Just G.I. Joe. And I started in December of 22.
All right, so you kind of got into it late.
Yep.
I guess not that late because Classified was still very young. I can't believe it's been around as long as it has been.
But I paid some money for some back figures, though.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Some of these people that a lot of people leave comments on my reviews, and they're like, "I just started collecting like 6 months ago. I started watching your stuff, and I've got almost a whole collection." Which you can get a lot of figures cheap right now, but there's some that are
stupid,
still pretty pricey. There's no doubt about, and they're not going down. Like those prices aren't going to go down. But there's not too many.
I remember I bought 2 Nemesis Enforcers, and this damn 7-year-old kid of mine guilt tripped me to open it in one. I had it open, I had it up on display, and he's like, I just want this, blah, blah, blah. I still have 2 Nemesis Enforcers. It's just the open one is not in my collection. It's in my son's, so I have the closed one in my collection now. But it's nice to see that he's taking an appreciation for it. I mean, it's even the fact that if I'm reading a comic downstairs, like, I'll get home from work, take a shower. First thing I do is take a shower, and then I go downstairs and we're sitting on the couch, or whatever, waiting for dinner, and I'll read a comic every now and then, like on the weekend if we don't have much going on, and he'll come up, be like, let's read the comic together, Dad. So I read it to him, and I try to do the different voices and stuff for him, so he can just sit there and listen. He gets into it, and he's got his Joes and wrestling figures, and he poses them different ways all the time. He's like, "Daddy, come look what I did today." So I think I'm helping him keep that spark alive for G.I. Joe.
So you're saying there are kids that do play with G.I. Joe and toys, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's odd.
that.
Because I keep hearing that toys are dead, and after our generation, no kid will ever play with a toy again because
no, line's dead. What Snowcat? That's not going to happen. It's supposed to be a mauler, right?
I wanted a tank. Okay, we'll go buy it. There's a ramen tank. Go buy it. Have fun. It's right there for
there's
you.
There's a Google. You type in 112 tank. There'll be a bunch of stuff pop up.
Yeah, you can find stuff. But it doesn't matter because even if they're giving you a mauler that was $350, you'd complain that it shouldn't be $350 because ramen doesn't charge you that. All right. So are you a completist with everything? When it comes
That's my problem. Yes.
Okay. So you have everything?
I am current. Everything that is out in my area, I am current. Like, I remember watching your stuff for the Rattler. I was the same with you on the Rattler. It's like North Carolina, I swear to God, there's the outside of the U.S., like Shark Eyes toys in Australia.
Yep.
Then, the stuff hits Europe, Canada, and then us. And then it hits Antarctica, then the North Pole for Santa, and then it hits North Carolina. It's ridiculous.
I still have not seen Mindbender. I still not seen Crystal Ball or the Night Force 2-pack in Walmart. I've only seen the display one time. I've been to about 15 different Walmarts, and I'm not talking about how many times I've gone back. About 15 different Walmarts. I've seen the display one time, and they didn't have either one of the figures.
We do have the display at the Walmart that I go to, and when I went there, I got a Crystal Ball for somebody else that I knew, and then I actually picked up the Night Force 2-pack that day and canceled my Walmart one. And I was going to get Law and Order, but I didn't want to cancel it because it's on the same one with the snake armor, and I was afraid my snake armor would get canceled. So I was like, I'll just let it roll with Hasbro.
I don't blame you. If you're not doing reviews, and I say this, if you're not doing reviews, I don't feel like you have to rush to get something.
No.
I tell people that all the time. It's like I do it because I've created a channel that is about it. And even though I know you don't have to be first, it does help to be early, and it's great to be first, but you don't have to be. People still are going to tune in to hear what you have to say. But if you're not a reviewer, just wait it out.
You're the man babies, though.
Oh my God! Yes.
Everybody wants. We're in a generation now, or a time now. Everybody wants everything right away. Like, I want to order this on Amazon and have it in my desk at my front door tomorrow morning. It's like, dude, you can't wait.
You know what? Working on copy machines. That's, people walk up, they have instant prints, and if I put it in silent mode, it actually will prolong the parts. But if you let it sit there for too long, and I mean like 15 minutes, you have a warm-up time. And I tell people, like, the warm-up time is about 6 to 9 seconds, depending on how long. And then some people are like, yeah, don't turn that on. Don't do that because that's just too long. It's like 6 to fucking 9 seconds. Do you remember the old machines that took 15 minutes to warm up, and you got a jam and you open it up really quick and you rip the paper out and it still took 15 minutes? Like, hey, you're still warm. I know you are because I burnt my fucking hand. And you're going to complain about 10 seconds.
I come off the road and I got a computer in my truck, but I don't have a printer in my truck. So when I come off the road, if I'm working in the shop, I'll disconnect the computer from the truck, put it in the shop. I have to reconnect from my hotspot to the company server in order for me to print anything. And it takes 4 minutes. Everybody's like, man, I'm like, I'll hit a button. I'm like, man, this is aggravating. But then I'm like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. I'm getting paid. I'm not worried about it. It'll
That's
it'll
exactly it.
connect when it connects.
It does. It takes its time to get there. No
Yep.
doubt about that whatsoever. Okay, so quickly here. Um, what are you doing on YouTube? Like, what are you like? What is your YouTube content mostly?
I didn't know what I was doing. I thought maybe I'd start a review or something. But I
None
started
of
doing
us
the
do.
SoCal Joes a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? Doing reviews isn't for me. Like, this,
Okay.
okay, it's kind of cool, but it's not my thing. Um, and I don't have stuff in a bot. I mean, I've got stuff in totes because I just don't have space for it right now. But I can't put figures on the shelf, put them uniform, dress right, dress left, front to back, and on the shelf, and just have them stand there for the next 30 years until I'm dead. So I needed something to occupy my time. So I started making dioramas. So each shelf is kind of its own little diorama. And that's what I,
And see, I love that. Like, I mean, I love that you're doing stuff like that. Because again, you start getting into new things. Like I
yeah.
started doing like, again, I don't think my photography is great, but I started taking pictures and enjoying it and loving it, right? And I've seen numerous people that do the same thing. Like I started doing dioramas and I started watching this guy and that guy. And I don't have the space and I probably don't have the patience to do the diorama. Um, or the not just the patience, but the artistic ability. But I love the fact that people are buying stuff and then they're getting into something completely different. You
It's a
know,
whole different level of collecting too, because now you're dumping almost twice as much money because it's not just a figure. I've got this Snowcats coming out. Now I have to make a damn diorama for that, or it, it's a rabbit
and if you
hole.
don't have a
I
lot of
hate going down
space,
it,
then you have to figure out how you're going to do that.
but it's a puzzle and I like it.
Um,
And it,
I I like that right there. I like that term. It's a puzzle. Um, because you are trying to figure out how to make things. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get. I didn't even think about it. I don't know why. I didn't put your information. I forget. So right now, the information for his channel. And you don't have any social media. You gotta at least get Instagram.
I
So you
did
can
have the
still.
stuff and I just got off. I got tired of seeing everything. My wife follows Instagram and a couple Facebook pages for me.
I know. She's the one who messaged me.
Yeah, I told her.
And then I noticed she was following me. um, but you need to do it because you're doing dioramas and you need to show this stuff off. And I know when I
I
had
had
to go
one at
through what?
I had him at some time. 2016, 2017. I was doing it just again just to occupy my mind and keep going. I was doing rustic American flags.
Okay.
I think they were 19 and a half by 37 inches or something like that. And I had, Outhouse Customs. That's where that came from, was from that. So I had wooden flags and stuff up, and I sold almost 200 wooden flags in a couple of years around the world.
So how does that name come from? I'm assuming outhouse must come from Dookie.
My grandfather, it was all family land back where I grew up. So
Okay.
across the street, and I didn't know this till recently, but across the street, it was just like this third or fourth cousin or something like that. And there was an outhouse there. And I remember seeing that outhouse as a kid, and it was always kind of creepy looking. And because I got the nickname Dookie, I was like, well, if I'm going to do custom stuff, let me kind of put my spin on it, from Dookie. I said, I got to have something to do with shit. I was like, well, outhouse, because I'm always outside. I can't do the stuff in the house, so I got to be out of the house. So the outhouse came from that.
Okay.
And then the logo I originally had was an outhouse, but then I changed the logo up. So,
And what is your logo now?
like I said, my grandfather, he lost his leg when he was 5 years old, and he had a wooden crutch to begin with. This is
Yep.
1926. So when my grandfather passed away in 2012, I asked my neighbor, who was a couple years older than me, I said, hey, man, can you draw me up something for a memorial tattoo? I had just started getting tattoos at that point. He's like, yeah. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. You know my grandfather, just draw something up. So he came up with that logo behind me. And it is a crutch with wings. But if you look at it, the top of the crutch is two ratchets. And then the cross brace is a wrench. and then bought him a pair of needle nose pliers because my grandpa was a mechanic as well. So kind of homage to him
I noticed
and
the
to my
needle nose
roots.
pliers.
Yep. And
And
my
as soon as
uncle
you said
just
the
sent
other
me
stuff, you're gonna
my
love
uncle.
Monkey Wrench. You're gonna love Monkey Wrench.
Oh, he was one of my favorites as a kid. I
But
mean,
just
the
all the
dreadnoughts
wrenches on him. Just looking at that, you're gonna love it.
molded into him.
Belt buckles, tattoos, obviously the wrenches that he has. I think you're gonna be like, this is it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that figure.
Yeah, I think you're definitely gonna like him, no doubt about it. I guess I'm not letting you talk. I apologize.
I'm good. Beck's just giving you shit.
Well, usually I expect that from Matson, so that goes back to what I've said before. We have never seen Speck and Matson in the same place, so makes me think they might be the same person. um, so like kind of like uh, Matson right now, if I am correct, he was supposed to be filming with Legend series, but I know he was in, so I don't know if they're done or whatever. So where do you see your channel going from here?
There's a couple of videos I've seen out there. Eventually, I mean, I'd like to have that whole room done, and it's just one entire world. It's just what I'm doing now is the dioramas are just piece by piece, and eventually, when that room is completely mine, when he's a little bit older, that whole thing will just flow into one gigantic stories. I came across a guy before I even started collecting classified on YouTube. He had a 1/18 scale, and I don't remember the guy's name. I wish I could. I saved the video, but he had the flag on the left hand side of the room, and then he had Joe headquarters on the right hand side, and in the corner, like L-shaped corner, he had the Terror Dome. And I saw that, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, that's pretty damn cool. I'd love to do that one day. If I don't collect GI Joe, and then next thing you know, I'm collecting GI Joe. So kind of going down that road. It's going to be a long road to get there, but I'll get there.
But you already have plans, like you're already looking at. This is all going to connect.
I've measured everything out from
I
what I can
love that.
in my head, at least. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff measured out.
But I just hope you're taking into consideration and understand that there's going to be way more G.I. Joe stuff that you collect before he moves out of that room.
I want to get out of it. We're in a subdivision, and I want to get out of it. And I told my wife, I said, hey, we need to get a different house. She's like, well, no, I like it here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what am I going to do when I'm older and I can't walk up the stairs? She goes like, oh, we'll build you a place out back. I'm like, okay. So that kind of got the wheels spinning. So about 2 weeks ago, I'm like, hey, I think we need a new shed. She's like, what are you talking about? We've got a big shed out back. I'm like, yeah, but that's our shed. I'm like, I want a shed. I want to put AC in it, and I want to have electric in it, and it be nothing but the Joe room. It didn't go over too well yet. I'm still working on that one.
Yeah, just go buy one.
Yeah. But that'd be my goal, like a 20 by 15 or something like that shed, and just that's it. Just work it.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm outgrowing my house, and not because I'm having more kids, but because the toys have become a problem. But what do you do, right?
Yeah,
And
I started putting the dial pieces in the garage. Like I'll do the filming of the hanger, but I don't have any place to put the hanger right now, so I just put the hanger up on the shelf in the garage for now.
yeah, and one of my things is kind of what you said to your wife. I want to move because I want a big, long basement, but I don't want it upstairs. Again, as you get older, getting up and down steps. Again, if you're going downstairs to spend time and with your hobby or whatever, it's different than when it's like I gotta get upstairs to go to sleep. And when you get upstairs, the next morning you have to also walk downstairs. Like I don't have to go to the hobby room every single day.
And we don't have basements here either. So I mean, we're in this part of North Carolina. We don't. Western does, but Eastern doesn't. Eastern and Central. And if I had a basement, I could walk outside and go around. If I had to. But
well, yeah. I guess if you have a walk-in basement. So you're looking to completely connect everything.
Yeah. One big ass story.
And how much content are you putting out as of now?
maybe a video every couple weeks, if that. Just
Okay.
whenever I get time to do it. Um, like they had mentioned earlier about John Deere harvest season. It's a nut roll, man. It's like, I'm retired. I don't need to do it. I just do it because I want to do it. I can't stay at home and do nothing all day. I mean, I could if I had GI Joes to play with all day, but I got to pay for that stuff too at the same time. So it's like John Deere's paying for my toys.
No, my dad, he used to tell me, he used to always say that I'm retiring the day that I can. And then he hit that date and he didn't retire. And his wife was like, "No, I told him like you're too far in debt. Like I'm not I helped you get out of this. We're not getting back in because you're going to retire, right?" And he was driving a high-low at. And then when he finally retired, he put on weight. And he never got like super fat, but he put on weight. And he's like, "I just need to be out of the house." And he started working at like Home Depot until they
Yeah.
told him someone shit on the floor, literally shit on the floor. You need to go clean it. He's like, "I'm not cleaning that." And so he quit.
No
And
way.
then a guy said, "Hey, I can get you a job at Enterprise porting cars or driving back and forth, picking people up." And he's been doing that for a couple years now. And he loves it because he gets to drive different cars. He doesn't have to be at home. He works when he wants. Well, he has a set date, but they take all kinds of vacations because he's retired. And she's a nurse that's kind of retired.
My grandfather raised me, if you're able to work, you work. And you don't use an excuse that your body's hurting, whatever it is. If you physically can wake up that morning, your ass should be at work, unless you're well off enough and you don't need to. But it's just that work ethic's been in me since I was a kid. I can't stop. My mom is 72, I think, and she still works. She worked 46 hours this week, not because she has to, but she likes doing it. It keeps her busy. She's by herself, so
And if you find something that you like doing, then yeah, why not?
yeah.
Um, but again, like if you're able to retire and you're doing YouTube and you're able to bring in some money to pay for your hobby or whatever, or hell, maybe people turn this into a full-time job. It's not easy, and I'm not talking not doing toys. Believe me, not doing toys. You're not going to turn this into a full-time job. Very few people can do that. Um, but yeah, I always say like I don't want to work, but you go like if I get like a week and a day off, you're kind of like, all right, I'm starting to. I need to get back to doing something because I'm
Yeah.
doing nothing here. I'm looking at the
See, we,
walls. I'm like, I need to be out of the house.
we used to get 4-day weekends a lot when I was in the military. Like once a month, you'd have a 3 or 4 day weekend. And now I don't even I get 4 holidays off a year. So we get Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and 4th of July. And then we
Memorial
either
Day.
get, no, we only get Labor Day or Memorial Day. We don't get both.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know there's 2 things about John Deere. One, Memorial Day you plant, Labor Day you harvest. And the other thing about John Deere is the
Oh.
colors. Greens for the planting season and golds for the harvest season on John Deere. That's why they got green and yellow. So it's literally a job that it fell right in my lap when I retired. It's like, hey, you want to do an internship for this, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, sounds great. Fast forward a couple months later, they hired me after the internship was done right before I retired. I've been there ever since. So um, I love doing it. It's a satisfaction. It's a job that's never going to go away. People always got to eat. Farmers got to make the crop
Yeah.
and make the food. So I know my job security is there. I work for a massive dealership in North Carolina that they have 37 stores. So it's a good job. I enjoy it. I can't stop right now. I don't want to.
But that's very
Eventually, my body's going
interesting.
to make me.
But that's very interesting. I didn't, that they're planting or they're harvesting
Yeah,
on those days. So
and
someone
it's
has
weird.
to be working.
Well, I guess what they did is they tried closing at one point in one of the branches. Like I said, they got 37. So one of the branches that closed, and a farmer went there and they couldn't get parts because they were working that day and they were pissed off and they threw a stink up. So then the company's like, okay, we can't close, so we have to be open. So myself and the other road tech usually alternate Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Well, I mean, like you said, you have job security, and
Yeah,
it sounds like you enjoy doing it. It sounds like you're good at what you do. I mean,
it's something different every day. Every day is shit. I'll tell you that. It's either hog shit, chicken shit, pig shit, cow shit, but every day it is something different.
Hey, as long as you
It,
like what you're doing, like I said, I've been at my job for 24 years, and yeah, we all bitch about it, but I can tell you that my boss has been there longer than I have, and the delivery guy has been there longer than I have, and obviously the owner has been there longer than I have, and there's still times I go in and I'm like, I still think I'm like the young guy, like I've been there a short amount of time, and I'm like, oh wait, there's only like 3 other people that have been here longer than me.
that was me the other day. Like our senior guy is out right now, so I'm essentially the guy that most tenure inside the shop. And I was looking around and like everybody's coming to me for questions the other day, and I was like, "Damn, why?" And it dawned on me, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm the old guy here." You know, you don't think about stuff like that.
No, you don't, because I know that old adage is you're only as old as you feel, which I think is bullshit. I think that was made up by a young guy. But it is true. Like I don't feel like I'm about to turn 50. Not by my look, by how I act, the stuff that I do. Um, I still have that. I still have a young mentality. Old knees,
Yeah,
old knees, old ankles. But I still have that young mentality. So, but the whole like you're only as old as you feel. I'm like, you haven't woken up at 49. All right. That's why you're saying that.
I act young, but damn, my body is busted.
That you know what? I think that's yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm relatively healthy, to be honest. I don't really get sick too often. Uh, Everything else, it's just the like when people are like, I had people ask me like, "Do you have arthritis?" I'm like, I don't know, but I'm just gonna assume that if there's a machine that checks for arthritis, I'm going to light up. I mean, you
It's
can't put
bad
that
when you
much.
get it when you have arthritis in your hands and it cramps when you got the controller in your hand for the TV. That's when you know you got arthritis bad.
Yep. And I've had more than a few cortisone shots. Hopefully Matthew's not listening because he'll yell at me about it. I've had more than a few cortisone shots in the elbows,
Yeah,
and it's a
neck.
magical shot. But my doctor was like, "I'm not going to keep doing this because you're just masking the pain. Like this will help it, and hopefully it's not that bad." And lately, I've been pretty. I haven't had one in years, so I'm happy about that. But again, like you said, that arthritis, man. Like I'm just assuming that I have it, but yeah, like you said, cramping up because you're changing the channel.
Yeah,
Hopefully, you're
that
on something you like.
yeah. It's never something I don't like. It's just it's weird. Like it'll hit you at odd times, you know, or like you get a wrench in your hand, you go to change wrenches, and you're like, I can't let go of this wrench, and you got to peel your fingers apart.
Ugh.
But it's
Yeah,
also dehydration too. It gets hot.
yeah. So, I don't know. There's not much more. There's not much more to say. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm I've been following you for a little while. It was I think you, Woody, and Crow were like the 3 people I started watching at first when I
Well,
got into
thank you.
classified.
Why? Can I ask why? And what did you
Your
see?
sarcasm.
Okay, fine. I know I got that.
That's honestly, I don't want sugarcoat. Just give me the straight shit, you know. And that's one thing I've always respected about you, Crow, the tactical perspective from a military guy, and Woody, the accent. I miss the accent back home. I do say that. I hear it from my wife when she gets pissed because she's from the same area. But and Woody, of course, the Army building was just blown away how much stuff he had, even in his early videos. But those 3 things, I think, got me going.
They're both such good guys, and I mean, I have a personal relationship with all of them. I mean, I talked to them both on the phone. I mean, hell, that's the only way you're going to talk to Woody
Yeah,
is if you call him. um, I'm always interested. Like again, like when someone says something like, "Yeah, I started watching you" or this, I'm always like, "There's nothing else on." Like, and Matthew can. I mean, I've said to Matthew, I've asked him numerous times, like, "What is it? Like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong?" I always believe like you need to constantly be. You don't have to change everything, but you have to find out like what is it that people are enjoying about your stuff. And I mean, I'm assuming you do the same thing. Like, why are
yeah,
people watching this? What can I do better? There's a reason why. Duarte Studios, everyone is so high on because he does amazing stuff.
He
I
does. He
mean,
does really great shit. And I mean, I was laying in bed with the wife last night and looking up how to make 112 scale barbed wire, just because I'm not paying prices online for that stuff when I can make it better myself. And it sucks because the videos don't always show that aspect or the details and stuff that you put into it. But that's just something I'll work with the camera. That's all.
that's one of those things that you start to find out. I mean, at least I am, as I'm trying to get better at, photography, that you start to like. I used to have a problem because when I would take pictures, I'm like, I just spent all this time posing the figures. You should see everything. And then you look at the really good photographers that are taking shots of action figures. They're not taking a shot of the whole thing. They're focused on one thing. There's a
Yep.
blurred out figure in the background, or you have a blurred out figure in the front focusing, right? And you're like, okay. And then you see at the end, you're like, this is where you take the picture of everything so people can see all the work that you actually have it set up. You
Yeah.
know,
It's like the snow, like I just did one for Snow Job. I mean, he, like you said, one of the greatest figures they've come out with. And then
yeah.
I was like, what am I going to do for this? I need to have a snow scene because my kid keeps asking me, when are you going to do something for the snow guys, something for the snow guys? And I finally did it. And then the polar bear comes in. I'm like, damn, how am I going to fit this in there? But with the snowboard and the skis, I used lightweight spackle and water and just kind of mixed it together and then brushed it on over the foam. And then I was like, well, how do I make the soft powder? I'm like, there's soft powder out there. And then my wife's like, well, you bought that stuff that we used to use for Christmas, the little villages our grandparents used to make.
Yep.
I bought that. I put that on there, and it looks like it's snow just getting pushed up. So I mean, in person, it looks great.
Well, you can buy fake snow on Amazon.
Yeah, it's expensive as hell though.
Oh, I only know this because Emily from the GI Joe team said it.
Yeah,
I was like,
remember
wait,
hearing
you
that.
can buy fake snow. So I went
Yeah,
and looked it
one
up.
is expensive, and two, I don't know how much it comes with. I don't think it's a lot. Like optics is. He asked about how to make jungle vines. I saw something somewhere about shoestrings, like using the shoestring, and you can
Okay.
kind of manipulate it with the glue and then paint it. I don't have any shoestrings. I throw my shoestrings away in my shoes. I use the little rubber bands. They look like shoestrings, but all I gotta do is slip on my Adidas.
All right. So Spec says I just bought some instant snow. He said $10 and it makes 5 gallons. All right, then it's not that's a
Man,
lot of
that's
fake
cheap then.
snow. That's so I have to say this. um it's not that I like this, but we had it as kids. I never felt I had to have this. But my ex, my kid's mother, she was like, there will never be tinsel on the Christmas tree. Why?
Hated that shit.
Because it is there forever. It will be in your house. And so that always became the running joke of tinsel. But again, like it's one of those things like you say, "Hey, I'm gonna get this once you split up, and then you're like, yeah, I don't want that shit on my Christmas tree.
Yeah.
But it goes back to glitter. Glitter, like you don't have girls. I mean, you have a stepdaughter, but glitter is the worst because you will find glitter on everything. And you're
Everything.
like, you have 2 daughters and you're like, all right, well, this one, there's no more glitter in her life. But this one here, what did we get that has glitter on it? And you're looking at it going, oh, I hate that.
My daughter's actually up in Mass right now, so we're and they got 3 dogs total, but we have one of the dogs with us. I was like, I told the wife, I'm like, it's kind of messed up. We got Luna. She's a Great Pyrenees, a big white fluffy thing. And I was like, it's kind of messed up. They dropped her off here and they took the other 2 dogs on vacation with her. So we kind of feel bad for Luna, but she sheds like crazy. And I told her, I said, before she drops her off, make sure she gets her groomed. She was here 2 days. My wife brushed her in the backyard. It looks like we've got 3 inches of snow out there. I'm like, what the hell is that? She's like, Luna. She's like, she's shedding like crazy. So it's like, as we walk through the house now, it's just nothing but dog hair constantly. And she can't keep up with it. I don't know how my daughter does it.
What's crazy is that like Roman, I mean, he's a pit bull. I mean, he does shed, but it's not like that. But I run that Roomba, and when I empty it, I'm like, holy shit! Like, where's all this fur?
But the guy I went to the toy store today, he told me that we were talking about the dogs, and I told him that we had our, the daughter's dog. He's like, they got Floby out again, right? I was like, you mean the old haircut shit with the vacuum when we were kids? He's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, my wife bought one for our dogs. He's like, it's his own individual vacuum and everything.
I've seen people do that. This guy here, he has no problem with the Roomba. He'll bump into him and he'll get up. Man, you turn the vacuum on, and he's attacking it. I'm like, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, you let the Roomba hit you in the face, but you turn the vacuum on, and all of a sudden you're attacking it, and it's like, just go in the other room.
Yeah,
but Roomba comes by,
we
and
had
he
a
just
dog.
sits there.
We had a dog couple, and we put her down last year, I think, and then so it's a little bit different. But I remember when we had that dog, and even she didn't shed. She was a Lasso Apso, so she never shed. And now having this one's complete opposite. But the vacuum thing, I think every dog hates a vacuum,
or they love it. You've probably seen those. Like, well, no, you're not on Instagram. I've seen Instagram where there's like dogs that roll over, and the people have to literally, and the moment they stop vacuuming the dog starts like getting in front of it so they can continue to do it again.
My kid watches cat videos, like funny cat videos on YouTube.
Because I'm not going to share this like with Matthew and Ed and all the other guys. I love all the dog stuff. So I have a group with both my daughters that every time I see, like, it's mostly dog stuff, but sometimes other animals, I just send it over to them because I need to share it with someone.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is, yeah, my stepdaughter, she sees it pretty quickly. Then it will be like 3 a.m., 4 days later, and this one here, who should be sleeping, I'll get an LOL out of it or a laughing emoji. I think she heard me. Here she comes, I think. Like out of nowhere. And I'm like, you're the one, like the one that lives in California. I expect a 3 a.m. response, but she's already responded or she's already read it.
My daughter's married and she lives 20 minutes down. She married a soldier. And I'll send her stuff about wrestling when I'm watching wrestling. So, like between 9 and 11 at night. And I'll get a text at like 3:30 or 4 in the morning when she's up with the baby, replying back to what I sent her. I'm like, God damn, Jay, you woke me up. Yeah, I feel the pain on that one.
Now, does your mom live by you?
No, she's up in both my mother and my mother-in-law. So both our sides of our families live back up in Mass, Connecticut area.
I didn't know if maybe she moved down with you or.
And I think that may happen eventually one day.
So you're not planning on moving back up there?
I asked my wife, I said, hey, when I retired, I said, hey, where do you want to go? I said, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida are great for military retirees as far as taxes and stuff like that. She goes, nope, we're staying here. And then when my cousin got sick and stuff, and I was like, what do you think about moving back home? She goes, I'm not moving back to the fucking snow. She's like, you can, I'm not going. So she has nothing to do with the snow anymore. So we're staying here or going south. That's it.
The cold has never really bothered me. And it still doesn't. I never zip up my jacket or anything. My coat, I don't even know if zipper works. But I will say this, as I've gotten older, the less and less I like dealing with it. Especially like if I got to find a part out in my car and you're stuck out there for 15, 20 minutes trying to find some stupid fucking part that on my phone it says I have it in my stock. And I know that it's like this big and I got to find it somewhere. Or I just tell my boss, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I know my inventory says I have it. I don't. And he's like, it's probably on your desk here. Like, it probably is. Or he says, our shit's fucked up.
I had to pull a motor in here in North Carolina in February this year. And people think it doesn't get that cold. No, we had fucking snow and ice in the ground. And I pulled a motor. It took me 3 days to pull it and then put it back in a piece of equipment in the field. And it was freaking cold. And I don't mind the cold, like you said, you don't, but until your hand slips and you hit that cold metal and you're trying to bust the wrench loose or something like that. Oh man, that shit sucks.
Yep. And Clint, I was trying to not say it that way because as it was coming out and I can hear myself, I was trying not to be frozen. But there was no way to avoid it. No, I talked about it before with someone about skateboarding, and we were talking about like when you fall in the winter and you smack your hand, like there's no pain like that. It hurts. Like you can't explain it.
That's one thing. I don't hit my hands anymore when I fall. Like if I go down, I automatically, all that military training from jumping, I tuck and roll, arms up every time.
And this is a new one that I've never seen before.
Hopefully she ain't married.
So I want Tennessee as very close second to North Carolina.
That's the missus.
I know that because that's how I got a hold of you. When you get a message and it goes to the because if you're not friends with someone, it goes to the requests.
Right.
And then again, there are a lot of hot girls that are really interested in me. They saw me around town, or their friends saw me around town. I'm sure they're all real. So I saw that. I'm like, I click on it, assuming I'm probably going to delete it. And it's like, hey, my husband wanted me to get a hold of you. Like, oh, okay, cool.
It's like for the SoCal Joe figures. I'm like, hey, you got to email this guy. She's like, babe, I'm not doing. I'm like, baby, I can't. I'm not going to SoCal. I can't go there. I want to get that figure. Can you just contact the guy, please? It's like I'm a little kid begging for Christmas. Like, please, mommy, please. And she's like, what am I going to say? I'm like, just ask him. I'm like, just be the natural. It'll be fine. She's like, people are going to think I'm weird. I'm like, no, not everybody's got social media.
I think it was this guy.
Spec.
Yeah. I think you messaged Spec about that.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I liked him figures for some reason, and he's right down here. And the friggin' snow hits. Holy shit! It is a shit show. I'll go out in the road, and it's like the cops they'll go by me looking like, "What the hell are you doing driving?" I'm like, dude, I grew up in this shit.
Well, again, it's hard. It's hard for us to understand because you grew up in snow, but you go back to Lightning McQueen. Why can't I think of the name? Cars.
You turn right to go left.
Yes. It sounds so, and I remember my dad telling me. And you're like, that makes no sense. And it's like, it will. And again, it's the same as dirt, but you're not, again, snow is so different.
Yep.
And again, you grow up here, every idiot that has a 4-wheel drive thinks they can drive as fast as they want. And it's like, that's great in 6 inches of snow, but you're on ice.
Yeah, you can't drive on ice.
Doesn't matter.
4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, it's all the same.
Yep. A matter of fact, if you're in 4-wheel drive and you're on ice, your problem is when your front wheels hit and they're spinning, that thing's flipping. Like that thing is spinning out of control. Now, if you're talking about 6 inches or 10 inches of snow, shit, go on. Because you're going to stop pretty quickly because there's so much friction to stop you,
I was like 10 years old. I think my cousin was 8. We were coming back from hockey practice, and my mom got into 2 car accidents in a matter of 5 minutes, and she was only in the car for one of those car accidents. We were coming back crossing the lake in Webster where my cousin was at to drop him off, and she hit a patch of black ice, and she hit the guardrail. So she gets out of the car, and next thing you know, yeah, that's my mom right there, ice on 16. She gets out of the car, and the cops are sitting there, and then, they pull up and they start talking to the cops, to my mom about what's going on, and next thing you know, another car hits the same patch of black ice, hits the car that I'm in with my cousin, and we're in the back window, and you can just see us like going around in a circle. Like we see the lake, the woods. And my mom's just looking at me like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like it's our fault that we went for a joyride.
Yeah.
Good times.
It's weird talking to people in different parts of the country that have never experienced certain things. When I was in Texas for training, I was just talking about this with some of the guys, I think on Circle of Jerks. and we were talking about it. And I'm in Texas, and they were having huge thunderstorms, which is no big deal, right? It's a thunderstorm, and there's tornado warnings. But these guys from California were flipping out, and we were all like, "What?" And I didn't realize you don't really get thunderstorms in California. You don't. I mean, I know you don't get tornadoes really, but I'm like, a tornado warning it happens all the time. But the thunderstorms, like, in the next morning, they were like, "Oh man, the windows were shaking." I was like, "Dude, it was rain. It's water. It comes down. All right. Maybe you guys need some of it."
Yeah, it comes down here. They put their four ways on. It drives you crazy. Everybody has four ways on, and they on 95. It's the highway on the East Coast, the major one.
Yeah.
They'll be doing 40 on 95 with their four ways on because it's raining. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get people killed.
Yeah. Well, you do have to love those videos that you see, the viral videos where it's like you hope no one's getting hurt, but when just car after car can't stop. And
Yeah,
it's
the
like
blizzard
5
ones are the
seconds
best.
later, you're like, you see the semi coming, and you're like, oh shit. And then you see them, and you're like, oh man, dude. And it's like, and I think about it. Not only do I think about being in there because I drive all day, I think about if my kids are driving, like, do they have the smarts to, like, don't get out of the car till you can?
Yeah,
That's,
but they don't. They get out early.
yeah, and it's like, you get on the other side of the wall. You get as far away from them as possible because you don't. Again, you definitely don't want that. But yeah. But I tell you what. Is there anything else you have to say?
No, appreciate the opportunity to be on here and everybody
No,
that showed up.
thank
Thanks.
you. No, like, again, like, dude, we've had over 30 people the whole time watching, and I think people love to tune in, hear from somebody that they don't really get to see that much. Again, I go on a show and people are like, dude, I see this asshole all the damn time. All right. I can't get a day away from this guy, let alone I'm not tuning into these people's show to hear him talk anymore. So I think people absolutely love hearing and seeing somebody new that they, again, I thank you because you're always in the chat. I mean, you're always in the chat. And your name is very very memorable. It's shitty.
Yeah, it's like when you had Woody on, I think I connected the most with him. I mean, we grew up in the same area. It's like everything. The more I listen to people, the blanket forts that we play with as kids. I thought I was the only one that did that. Like you set your figures up on top of the blanket and stuff. That's what I like about it.
Those were your mountains.
Every week I'm reliving my childhood. Whether someone's 10 years older or 10 years younger, there's something that's clicking. So, I mean, what you guys are going on is pretty damn cool. I like it.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, I'm glad that you're part of this community. I know some people don't like saying community. I don't really get that, but it's like, I've said it before, like, this show, any show that I do is nothing without the chat. And that's why I wanted to have people on to showcase who they are. And some people we see every time, Tony is always on, and now Spec is on all the time. There are 2 other people in this house that you could ask to go outside. And yet you're here. Go ask one of them. No? Oh my goodness. Go ask someone else.
Roman's getting old. He's got to go.
Sometimes he's like super good, and other times it's like, like he can't take it anymore. But there are other 2 people in the house, so now he's pouting as he leaves.
My son yelled at me the other day because he caught me peeing in the bush outside when I came home because I couldn't wait to get in the door. He's like, "Daddy, you can't do that." I was like, "Dude, I cannot get my work boots off fast enough, and I wear them in the house. Mommy's gonna kill me." Yep, I still do it.
As long as the police don't see you, you should be good.
Usually, if I gotta go that bad, I'll run to the backyard. At least I'm blocked back there. But we got a big bush, and my truck's parked. I mean, I got a work truck that I drive home, a big service body, and then I've got my regular Silverado that's always against the garage, so it blocks the cameras in the road anyhow. At least I'm not dropping trow all the way down.
Well, yeah. I just love the fact that your son calls you out.
Yeah, he does. And he won't pee outside. Like I tried to get him to do it one day. We were playing out, and he's like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." I'm like, "Go behind the shed." He's like, "No, I can't pee outside." I'm like, "Dude, everybody pees outside."
That is one of the things as men we get to do.
Yep.
Like, because we can hide it. Women don't have
Easily.
They don't have that luxury, right? Women have
For the most
to,
time
like,
you can hide it.
oh, you're right. The cop knows it. Like they know what you're doing.
Oh, I've been close to being busted numerous times working on the side of the road because we do roadside cutters too. So like the lawnmower, bush hogs that cut the highways and shit, there ain't no hiding out there. So it's just maybe open a door and turn at a certain angle. Or
I got a ticket for peeing in public when I was about 20, 21. I was skateboarding. I was behind the building, and there was a wall, and my car was parked there. It was at a Kroger. No one on that whole side of the building. So I went and peed like we all do. And this cop came flying in, lights flying, and just yelling at me, and wrote me a ticket for indecent exposure.
indecent exposure.
Yeah. I go to court, and the judge is like, what would you have done if a kid would have come by? And I'm like, I'm in the back of the building skateboarding. No one has been there, and I'm on the side of my car. I go, and it was one of those, well, if this doesn't happen for the next, I think it was 2 years, this will be wiped from your record. It ain't gonna happen again, believe me.
But see, that's messed up. Something that simple, you can be labeled pedophile for that shit.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And it's not like I was like in front of the building and I'm like, hey, I'm in the back, I'm skateboarding, there's no one around me. I don't even, I didn't even see the cop, but the cop came like,
yeah, he was hard up for something.
I guess maybe as soon as I say that, people say, well, see, if you didn't see the cop there with the big lights, but, and
you probably woke him up from taking a nap behind the building.
What's funny is that I was leaving the club with a buddy of mine, and there's a whole bunch of us leaving, and well, it was him and I leaving, but there's like other people, and him and like two other guys, just like they went to the bathroom, like behind the a garbage can, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that because I once got a ticket, and sure enough, cop comes out, wrote him a ticket, and I'm like, it's in my head, and I actually see it happen. I'm like, holy shit, dude! And I told him, I'm like, that's why I wasn't gonna do. I will hold that. I will piss my pants before I do that.
I saw enough peckers having to watch for urinalysis in the army. I ain't trying to be a cop standing there watching for some guy peeing in the back alley because you had something to drink. That's ridiculous.
But yeah, that's one of those weird things. But tell your son, like, hey, this is one of our advantages as being a man.
It's a rite of passage.
It is. It's a rite of passage. And you're stopping right before you get in your house, pissing in your bush.
And I don't know why, like I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom before I leave work. And it's only a 25-minute drive from the shop to the house. And as soon as I pull in the driveway, I'm like, damn, I gotta piss again. Damn bladder.
That's getting old, man. That is that's definitely getting old. Because even now I may drive like an hour and a half to get somewhere. Not a lot. And before you'd be like, if you're driving like an hour north to get to a job or whatever. Now I'm like, if I have to go, I'm like, I'm not gonna try and hold it. I'm gonna hit a rest stop and I'm gonna go. Where when you're younger, you're like, I'll just wait till I get there.
No,
I
I
didn't do
try to
that.
wait till I find a rest stop and be on the safe side. I have a Gatorade bottle just in case.
I've never had to do that yet, but I've been close. Because you get like you leave a job and it's a half hour home, but then you get stuck in traffic and it turns into an hour and 15 minutes. And sometimes you're like, oh my God, this is
Yeah, just never tried on a bumpy road. It don't work well.
bad. Trying to avoid the potholes here in Michigan.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much. Everyone, please.
Thank you.
Here, let me find it quickly here. I got it right up here. This is his YouTube channel. Please head on over there. Give him a subscribe, a like. A lot of cool dials. I kind of went through the stuff as we always, I don't really show pictures on this or anything. I just kind of like to talk to you and find out what's going on. You just have no social media presence. That's why I said you need you need Instagram, because all you're doing is you just put up pictures and that's it. You don't have to have anything. You do.
I might do it. Just at least get some more. And mainly I started doing this just so my kid could have something, when I'm gone or whatever, or I forget, at least he can go back and look and see how I did it or why I did it, kind of
It's
like
also a time
ball
capsule, like Instagram, the
time
time
capsule. Yeah.
capsule. But the other thing is, it's like you like to share what you're doing with other people that are going to enjoy it. So at
Thankfully, I
least I
got
do.
guys at work. The parts manager's been there, our old parts manager. He's been there for like 25 years, and he's got a whole bunch of John Deere stuff. And another guy I work with's got a bunch of John Deere tractors. And they started asking once I told them about the GI Joes and showed them. They're like, "Man, how do we make dioramas for this? I want to do like a little barn scene, for a couple of tractors we got." So it's kind of cool.
No, that's awesome. Because again, it's like models. I mean, you're
Yeah,
doing artwork. It's just in a form of toys.
it's a cooler train set than the train set.
Oh, I used to love. I never had one. I used to love seeing people with train sets when I was a kid, and all like it's going through a little city. I used to love that. Just awesome.
Yeah,
So a few people have subscribed. So,
appreciate that.
but follow them. You guys know where to find. You're gonna see him here. You see him on Same Time Toys. I mean, you've been over there a good amount, right?
Yep.
And
And
that's where I
Circle of
saw
Jerks
you.
is like the main three.
Yeah, we have a pretty good show.
That freaking commercial shit you guys got. My daughter, my wife is gonna hate me for saying this, but there was something that happened with my daughter, and she sent a video to my wife, and I'm gonna kind of spoof that and kind of make like a little intro for my stuff. So when it comes out, you'll know that it came from my daughter's stuff. But it's kind of funny. But when I saw your guys' stuff, I was dying. I'm like, holy shit, they got like a legit narrator to do this stuff.
All right, so that is Spec did that. Toy Optics did all of that, and that was his buddy. He said that he got him to do the voiceover. I assumed it was just like some AI voice. He's like, no, that's my buddy. I got my buddy to do it. And it fits so perfect. But again, he works in the industry, so I'm sure he knows people. I mean, I can't do that type of stuff. And no one's gonna ask me to do it because I have an awful voice. So
I run everything by Shane. Same time, I mean, he's helped me out a lot. I mean, I've grown so much just learning on stuff with him. I don't know how else to do the stuff. Now, like, I'll hit him up randomly. I'm like, hey, how do I do this? Or do you think this is a good idea? He's like, I'd probably stay away from that. But he's helped me out a tremendous amount.
It's always good to have a voice. It's good to have a voice that you can ask that isn't afraid to tell you that's a bad idea.
Yep.
You don't want, there are some people in this community that all they have surrounding them are yes men. And you get absolutely nothing from that. I don't want, if I ask Matthew or Ed like a question like, hey, how was the show? How was this? I don't want them just being like, it was perfect. Or when I ask other people, it's like, I don't want to hear like, it was perfect, just because you don't want to upset me. Like, nothing you're going to say is going to hurt my feelings.
No.
You know,
I
can
want
just block you.
straight truth. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be a dick about it. You hear that, Matthew? You don't have to be a dick about everything. Matthew's normally pretty good about things, to be honest. But anyway, thank you very much. I'm going to let you go this time. If not, I'll continue to go on and on. So check out Evil Dookie stuff. You have a name that just works. Like, I don't feel I need to call you William or Billy or Liam. I might call you Liam because you like it.
I'd like to get Dookie on my gravestone, but I doubt that'll ever happen. Just put Dookie on it.
Don't worry, we can get Dookie on it. It just might not say Dookie.
Yeah. It'll say it just in different lettering and coloring.
Anyway, thank you very much. I had a blast, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat, and I'll be checking out a lot of your stuff. So anyway, everyone have a wonderful night, and Liam, I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.
Later.